Left hand feels so heavy, anchored to your memory. Ravage through my brain, oh, loosen the chain. It goes non-stop. I don't wanna fight no more. Origami on the floor, breaking stuff that's so sentimental. Push and pull is all we do. Life is hollow without you. Ooh, without you. Without you.
All right, good morning, everybody. Thank you for being here, and welcome back to the Nathan Ivey Show, where nothing is funnier than the truth. Men are allowed to be men, and sucker MCs get dealt with. We had a very interesting 24 hours, man. Wow, I was inundated with a lot of well-wishers. A lot of people enjoyed yesterday's show. So hopefully, I hope that you feel the same way moving forward. On today's show, I want to talk about numerous things. There are some updates when it comes to CPS, or should I say, as it relates to CPS and their decision to return to blended learning starting next week. Believe me, you want to stick around. I'm going to kick it off with that. At 9 a.m. this morning, we are scheduled to speak with a man named Elijah Baker. Elijah Baker was one of the members of the super popular R&B group Toni from back in like late 80s to like 1997, 1998. Then, of course, one of the band members, Raphael Sadiq, you can see him there in the middle with the white shirt on and the glasses. He started a group called Lucy Pearl and is still doing music to this day. But there's a documentary. There's a link in today's description if you haven't seen it. That was produced by this band member, Elijah Baker. He's scheduled to be my guest this morning at 9 a.m. So he's going to talk about his documentary, and we're going to go down memory lane just a little bit of a departure from what we've been talking about. We've been heavy on the social issues, heavy on the politics, but I'll say it again. This show will never just be about politics. It's about politics, people, and pleasure. So hopefully for your listening pleasure this morning, check out the interview at 9 a.m. Now, along the way, before we get there, oh man, you won't believe some information came my way as it relates to CPS. We'll share that with you when we start real soon here, next 60 seconds. Also, a smattering of other topics that you may or may not be aware of that may or may not be of interest to you. It's the Nathan Ivey Show. I'll say it again, where nothing is funnier than the truth. Men are allowed to be men. And of course, sucker MCs get dealt with. Please take a second to like and in particular share today's show, and we'll get started.
let's do something right. Baby, I believe in us. I believe in you, me, you, me, you, me, you, me, yeah. I believe in you, me, you, me, you, me, you, me, yeah. I'm sorry for the burden, sorry I was hurting, but my scars are almost healed. Yeah, my scars are almost healed. Yeah, I'm feeling like a child now. Everything's alright now, and it's all because of you. You made the flower in me bloom. Used to be afraid of everything, but now
The Ivy Show is supported by listeners. Go to www.patreon.com/Nathan Ivy Show and help Nathan keep the show independent.
Yeah, talking to my mirror like I love you so much. Curving on my critics like I heard you, so what? You can't kill my confidence, I think I'm the man. Tally all the I ever gave on my head. Lately I've been living like I can't take a loss. They ain't wanna help me, that's what made me a boss. You can't kill my confidence, I think I'm the man. We don't give a that's what they don't understand.
I'm back again like flu season. I broke records while loose leafing. I'm coming down my roof, leaving. Don't give a I don't care. Did the by my lonesome. No wonder now I'm on one. No shortcuts on that long run. All I really want is my share. Get on my God, I told him it's nothing. In the discussion, all them feelings I throw all my pain on percussion. The disgusting. I hear them bragging about that they did, and it do not move me, not in the least. They ain't been dropping no seeds in the soil, but swear that you almost spotted the feast. I've been on go mode, show mode.
All right, good morning, everybody. Let's get things started. 513-873-7134. Broadcasting live from a secret location. It's the Nathan Ivy Show, and we have a lot to talk about. Good morning to you. Good morning to you. How are you? Hey, what's up, everybody? How are you? What's up? What's up? Oh, man, how are you? Yes, a beautiful day. I know, it's beautiful. It's beautiful Wednesday. Great to be with you. How are you? How are you? How are you? Let me change things up just a little bit because I think that was, I like that better. I like that better. Good morning, everybody. How are you? Welcome back to the show. There we go. We got the branding. We looking good. We looking good. We feeling good. How was the last 24 hours? Hope you were doing well. Hope you're doing well. I keep things a little chilly here, as they should be inside the studio. And then from my home studio, when I turn the heat up too much, then it roasts the people upstairs. So I try to keep it down, and that's why I got the jacket on. Good morning to you. How are you? Hope you're doing well. Man, we had a great show yesterday. It ended abruptly. My cam battery died on me. I was at the end of the show anyway, so it wasn't too much of a big deal on my end. Hope everybody's doing well. What's up, Daryl? How you doing? What's up, Willie? What's up, Marcia? What's up? What's up, Kelly? What's up, Deshauna? I decided, put your all the chat up there, and we can just scroll through it so people can see what I see. Essentially, when I'm reading your comments, that's the way I see it. Elisa writes, Nate, did you see the CDC? Hold on, let me bring that down real quick. Give me 1 second. Did you see the CDC recommendations on safe school reopenings that I posted on the Friends page yesterday? No, I did not. I mean, yesterday was super busy. Super, super, super duper. Let me double check it right now. What did I miss? Tell me what I missed. Did the CDC guidelines, did they change it? Or are they now more consistent with what the Cincinnati public schools are doing? Speaking of which, today, make sure you check out Woke Wednesday. They're going to be talking with the superintendent of the schools, Laura Mitchell. That should be a great conversation. That should be an interesting conversation at 4 p.m. today. And I will definitely be checking that out. Most deaf. That's going to be Woke Wednesdays today. You can check it out with the CBUF and the leaders of the free world. That's Sister Iris putting that together. They've been doing that for a while, and it's a real resource in our community. But I'll circle back and talk more about that. I'm looking for it right now. What did I miss? Oh, Sekou Smith died? Damn. Damn, I'm telling you that life is so precious, y'all. I keep telling you. Life is so precious. Let me see. Deborah posted everything Nathan Ivy's been saying. We're not controlling it in our schools. COVID safety lapses around cross. COVID safety lapses abound across the U.S. Yeah, look, when you write, you can't. Nobody can shake you when you write. It don't matter what nobody say. I don't give a damn who it is. When I know what I know, I don't care what nobody say. And as I told you yesterday, that's the reason why I go so hard. It's not just about my children because, we're going to figure out, we're going to put it in God's hands. We're going to figure out what's going on. I'm going to do everything I can to make sure mine is right. It's about everybody's children. It's about public health. That's the spirit in which I deliver my flows and I do what I do. That's the reason why I do it. That's the reason why we talked to Ryan Messer. Speaking of which, props to Ryan Messer, because Ryan Messer gave us more time than I thought he would. He gave us more time than Pam Bowers. Pam, I know you listen to the show, but I got to be real, sis. She said she'd come back. It could have just been she was busy that day. I take people for their word. But all I'm saying is he gave us like an hour. And he was reading the comments and was dealing with it. He was body blow. It was like Glass Joe out there. Body blow, ooh. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, I don't have no sympathies. When you decide you want to put yourself in a leadership position and it comes to a tough decision, then it is what it is. I'm even more upset after listening to the conversation, quite honestly, if upset's the right word. Because Ryan Messer, vice president of the school board, and we're scheduled to speak with the president tomorrow, Carolyn Jones. Black female Democrat, Carolyn Jones is scheduled to be on the show tomorrow. Let me double check. I think it's at 9. I typically try to schedule the show between the interviews between 8:30 and 9. So that's tomorrow. Today at 9 o'clock, we're scheduled to speak with. I always preface it because I've been doing this long enough to know that you don't have an interview until the people get on, right? So we're scheduled to speak with Elijah Baker. Elijah Baker was one of the members of a very popular group called Toni back in the day. He has a documentary. There's a link in today's description on Facebook and YouTube. You can go back to his Facebook page and check it out, man. It is, if you haven't already seen it, man, it is worth your time. If you're into that kind of stuff. If you're like, man, I want to talk about politics, I get it. But I'm into a variety of different things. So looking forward to that conversation this morning and expect more. Like I told you, I want to diversify and get back to my roots. Folks that listen to me for any length of time know that my interests are varied. I'm into a lot of different things, not just politics. And I think it's a reflection of you as well. You're into a lot of different things. There's a lot of very interesting things that we can talk about. There's a lot of mysteries. There's a lot of uncovered history as well. I see Sister Iris is putting it on the screen here. Let me move that branding so you can read it. Superintendent will be with the community at 4 p.m. today. Oh, most deaf. Channel 12 just reported that there was supposed to be a CPS board meeting on Saturday to discuss remote learning option, but that meeting has been canceled. No rescheduled date has been announced. Jacqueline, I got a whole bunch of interaction from yesterday's show. So, and I understand why, because it's super important. Like I told you, locally, that's the most important topic right now. One of the most important topics, which is what's up with the schools? Why are you returning to blended learning during a pandemic? Make this make sense. So far, we've talked to 2 board members, and it still don't make sense. Ryan Messer yesterday, vice president of the school board, told us, and I'm a CPS parent, I'm a Walnut Hills parent. He, as a board member, out of his own mouth, told us that he doesn't believe that the 3 feet rule is safe. So my question for Ryan was, why'd you vote for it? And what we kept getting back from Ryan was, well, because the superintendent said it was cool. Oh, wait a minute. Then what do we need you for? I mean, just to be real with it. Why are you there then? We put you in place to follow your conscience. And I'll be honest with you, I would never ask somebody to do something with their child that I'm not willing to do. Period. You know what I'm saying? I would never have somebody walk into the fire and I'm not willing to walk into the fire. I just don't. That's just bad leadership, in my opinion. It didn't make a lot of sense. What I do appreciate from Ryan, I want to make sure I preface this, is that these people don't have to come on this show. And the show has a reputation, so they understand they may be, ask questions that maybe they don't get somewhere else. And I might ask the same question 15 times. I saw people in the question, like, why you keep asking the same question? Let the professionals do this. Let me do this. Okay, you do what you do. Let me do what I do. I know what I'm doing. Trust me on this, 100%. And I'm doing that for a reason, because everything's in the follow up. You know what I'm saying? If it don't make sense, I want to give you a chance to try to explain yourself, and to understand the way that you're coming across. Because sometimes people say things and they don't know how they're coming across. So I want to make sure they understand that and give them enough time to really flesh it out. And then sometimes I don't understand what they're saying. So I'm like, okay, let me make sure I hear this right before I just run with my conclusions. I try to be fair. And so I appreciate his time very much so. And I appreciate his candor. I thought that he was honest to his opinion. I take people by their word. You know, that's what the man said. That's what I believe. That's what he meant. That's what he meant. So it is what it is. What was your take? I didn't get a chance to get to a lot of comments yesterday after I got off with Ryan because we were like 5 minutes until the end of the show. And then, you know, the cam just died on me like 10 minutes after the show. The show was over anyway. I was about to end it. So I didn't feel the need to come back on. But what was your general impression of him? Or his responses? You know, I'll say it again. I believe in my heart that all these people care, but I'm wondering how they arrive at their decisions. And that's why I pressed Ryan to tell us that he was going to join Mike Morosky with this motion. You know, Mike Morosky was the only board member back on Wednesday. And again, I'm not saying to vote or not vote for anybody at this point. I'm just giving you the facts. These are the facts. Mike Morosky called him to the show. He said he was going to do this. He did it. That was in his own heart. He had already came up with that. And what did he do? He basically pushed a motion saying the board should reconsider opening on February and open on March instead. And we've talked to Pam Bowers, we've talked to Ryan Messer, and neither of them could give us any logical reason as to why it was smarter to start on February 1st as opposed to March 1st. And the reason why, family, is there is no lot. Let me put it this way. I'm still struggling to understand it. As I sit here, I don't understand it. I don't understand what's the difference other than it's more safe. So then it becomes this conversation about, well, it'd be more safe to start in April. You're right. It'd be more safe to start in June. You're right. So why don't you do the most safe thing? See, I don't know how you run your household, but in my household, I do the safest thing with my children. Like, if safety is a dial, I crank it up all the way. I don't take it to 3 and say, we can just get by with 3. You do the most safe thing possible. That's what you do because of public health. And when you start to unravel, some of the logic, it just doesn't hold up. Well, it's about academics. Well, if it's about academics, then how is it academically better for children to get less instruction time with their teacher, which is what they're about to do with the blended learning model? Because they're in school. Huh? It just doesn't make a lot of sense. And it just I think sometimes people arrive at a decision, they're like, I'm sticking with it. That ain't leadership. Leadership is doing the best thing, in this case, for public health. Everything else will work itself out. You know what I'm saying? Are kids going to be lagging behind academically? Yes, they are. My wife and I were just talking about our son. He is not where we think he should be. He would be much further along if he was in class every single day. The reason why he's not in class every day is because it's a freaking pandemic. People keep forgetting this. That's the reason why, period. And if my son is dead, or if he gets sick, or I get sick, that's going to be more impactful. He'll catch up. He'll catch up, just like all the other kids. Well, they'll catch up. But there's a pandemic going on right now, people. And they keep talking about the data. CPS, I'm sorry. It's hard for me to listen to them talk about the data because they keep changing which data is important and the data points keep changing. Last year, it was 40. It was an infection rate of 40 per 100,000. Oh, then the governor changed it to 48. But right now it's 53. Last year, we weren't in the purple. We were in the orange or the red or something. Now we're in the purple, but that doesn't matter. Last year, it was 6 feet or more. This year, 3 feet. Come on, stop with it. And so what I'm hearing, and I'm being honest with you, what I've been hearing and what I gather is for whatever reason, and I asked Ryan Messer a lot of the same questions because I want to dispel the myth. I asked Ryan Messer, is this because, and again, it came from the audience, Was this because of the governor and afraid of losing funding? He's like, well, that's less a concern now that Joe Biden's in office. Okay, so it's not the governor. It's not the funding. It's something else that's going on with CPS. I want to take this from the top. My son and my household would be served better all the way around if my son and my daughter were in class every day. That would be better for me in terms of my business. But again, that's to the side. You know what I'm saying? And it would be better for my children, more importantly, because they can get that in-class instructional learning that we all want. But there's a pandemic going on. We're in the purple. I don't give a damn what they're doing in Columbus. I don't give a damn what they're doing in Cleveland. I live in Cincinnati. And in Cincinnati, I don't know about you, but our children, our staff deserve the utmost. We deserve more than anybody else because I'm here, because we're here. I don't know how you look at it, but that's how I look at it. I ain't concerned about nowhere else in the world. The only place I care about right now is Cincinnati, Ohio, because that's where I'm at. So I didn't really, what I got from Ryan is that he took a lot of his information from the superintendent. Okay, I can understand that. If I was a school board member, what the superintendent says means a whole lot. But so do the teachers. The teachers are the ones who are going to be in the schools. The teachers. So from what I'm hearing, I can't wait to talk to Carolyn Jones to get her thoughts about this. And again, with every interview, I get tighter and I sharpen my focus more and more and more as to exactly, what we need to ask these individuals. So it should be hopefully interesting. We'll see. We'll see. Again, I come with good intentions. I ain't trying to make friends. I don't care about nobody being friends with me. I mean, friends don't pay no bills. Ain't no friends paying no bills over here. So, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? I mean, what's the use of having independent media if we're going to act the same as mainstream media? It's too much Cincinnati polite. We are anti-Cincinnati polite over here on the Nathan Ivey Show with CDM and whatever comes next. That's why we're here. There's too many people trying to be polite because they want to be cool and afraid people won't come on the show. Well, don't come on the show then. It is what it is. It ain't going to stop our flows. We're going to keep doing it. Man, it is what it is. So if that's the kind of flow and swagger and style that you think you're into, then you'll like this show. If not, then you won't. It is what it is. So, that's what I got overall from Ryan Messer. Like, my number one question is then how in good conscience can you vote for, let's say, just Walnut Hills in particular to return to in-school learning for any time, and you in your heart believes that it's not safe? That don't make any sense. It seems to be the opposite of whatever oath and responsibility that you have. I got to be honest with you here. I ain't trying to sugarcoat nothing. It is what it is. Those are my honest thoughts. I'm like, well, wait a minute. Why would you vote then? Why didn't you vote for Mike Morosky? And the fact that, you got more information. And then I tried to press Ryan to say, well, so what Ryan told us is that he got this information on Wednesday, but then on Monday, he got some more information or a different feeling from the people that was giving him information. So he said essentially that on Wednesday, during the presentation, after the presentation, he felt confident from the experts that this was something that they could maintain and be safe. He said on Monday, these same people was kind of changing their tune, and now he is less confident in it. Okay, so what's that mean? Where's that motion? He didn't want to do a motion. I don't understand that. I don't understand why. And I'm like, well, Ryan, are you trying to be friends? No, it's not that. I'm not afraid to stick up. He said a lot of things, but it just doesn't make any sense. You know what I'm saying? Maybe it takes emotion to put people on the record so everybody know how everybody feels for all time. That's what it seems like to me. But again, I'm just the guy over here trying to make sense out of this. I got the same question marks as you do. I'm just doing this little show, just trying to do what I can for my audience so that we can get a better understanding of what's happening in terms of public health, which is what it's really all about for me, in my opinion. But that's what I got from Ryan. And then, so then I got some interesting correspondence. So again, I don't betray no sources. I'll say this again. If you are a source for the Nathan Ivey Show and you send me information, you say, keep this on the low, I'm willing, it's going to die with me. I'm willing to sit down to Hamilton County Jail during COVID, whatever it takes. You know what I'm saying? There's a whole lot of lawyers out there. You know what I'm saying? So I don't play those games. If you send something to me, and you say keep it in confidence, it's in confidence to the grave. And anyone who knows me will tell you that. Before, in front of the mic, behind the mic, I betray no secrets, no whatever. You say keep it under wraps, it's under wraps, under any circumstances. So I got some information from some folks that work at CPS. There's a lot of concerned people who are concerned about retaliation. And it's quite amazing to me that this is a school system. And you got people afraid of retaliation like it's the mafia. Like they betraying the Godfather or something. The fuck is the hell? They're literally shaking, afraid to come out. You know, you got a lot of teachers and administrators who are afraid to do shows like this. They're afraid to put their voices out there because they're afraid they might lose their jobs, because that's how the game is. I mean, even if you're wrongly terminated, when you lose your job, then you lose your money. So now you can, in some cases, can't even afford to get representation. That's how the game goes. That's how they get you. That's how this BS keeps happening. Yeah, it was real. So I had heard, so I was scheduled to speak with a CPS employee, we'll put it that way, yesterday morning before Ryan Messer. I got a message from this CPS employee. It was probably Monday night saying I can't do it because there was a memo that went out. And apparently this was a memo that went out last year, and then somebody sent me a copy of it. I got a chance to look at it. It's quite interesting. It was from Laura Mitchell. And essentially, you know, I mean, again, these kind of things are not uncommon. This is well within her purview. It's her prerogative. Since we talk about 90 superstars later on today, it's in with her prerogative. It's within her prerogative to do so. But essentially, it was reinforcing the public communication policy as relates to everybody. And really, you know, I can see how it would dissuade people from coming forward and speaking their true piece, because these things can be interpreted any kind of way. As I read it, I thought it was interesting. I thought it was so interesting because I know parents that have been straight up abused by teachers and administrators. And I wonder, and thereby I think betraying their responsibility in terms of representing CPS. Like, I know some CPS teachers and administrators that I've seen personally with my own eyes and have been told from very credible sources that have been poor excuses in terms of representing CPS. None happens. But when it comes to an issue like this in public health, and teachers start speaking out about their own health and safety, all of a sudden CPS put a memo out talking about you have to represent us right. Huh? Like, you got teachers that cuss out students. None happen. How is that not a poor representation of CPS? Nothing happens whatsoever. But a pandemic occurs globally. People's lives are at stake. CPS employees on the front line, they speak out about it. The superintendent administration puts out a memo saying, hey, remember that you represent us. What? This is crazy. It is crazy. I mean, it is amazing. The hypocrisy is it's astounding, y'all. It is astounding. Amazing. So let me get this straight. You can cuss out kids. Adults can curse at kids. That's not a poor representation. But when teachers feel like their lives are on the stake and they go on social media, that's a poor representation. We are living in the last days of common sense. We are living in the last days of common sense. That is mind-blowing to me. That is mind-blowing to me. You know what I'm saying? That, you know, let's talk about Gabriel Taye for a second. Let me stitch this together in a way that nobody else will in the city, because they want to be friends. I don't give a damn about no friends. My friends are living in this house. You know, I know what my support is. So CPS is in court right now defending the actions of administrators that, by all accounts, it appears, did not properly serve this young boy and his family properly, which in my opinion, this is just my opinion, led to him committing suicide. Now, they willing to fight for that. That's not a poor representation of CPS? But when CPS employees feel like the only avenue they have is to go to social media, and again, I think, from what I read in that memo, I think, there were some things that, I think for any organization, like if you're using the brand of, an organization that you work for and then altering it and things like that, I mean, that's a problem. So that seems completely valid, but I'm saying the spirit of it. And you want to dissuade people from speaking out and reinforcing positive behavior. I'm telling you, I have talked to CPS parents, and I'll say this again. Some of the things that I've heard will bring you to tears, literally will bring you to tears. But CPS administration, the superintendent puts out a memo dissuading employees when they're talking about their lives are on stake. I mean, I don't know. It is what it is. I mean, CPS employees know what I'm speaking is the truth. They're like, damn, who sent them that? Yeah, it's real out here. This is what happens when people are afraid. Ain't no loyalty. When you talk about people's lives, loyalty goes out the window. It's out the window. People trying to make sure they don't die, before they're supposed to. This is not a game. I take it very, very seriously. And that's why, people want to pontificate and talk about these hypotheticals that don't even apply to them just to try to argue with me. I'm like, you getting caught up with the wrong thing, sis, bro, sis, stop it. This is about public health. Nothing more. So then I read that, and this information came to me yesterday, so it was confirmed on the stream this morning that hours after our conversation, again, I don't think it has anything to do with our conversation, but CPS decided to not have their meeting on Saturday. Why not? That'll be a question for Carolyn Jones. Like, why? This is your last board meeting. I mean, at the very least, don't you owe the public to have a board member meeting? Now, maybe there's a very logical, plausible, reasonable explanation. I want to hear it. CPS was supposed to have a board meeting on Saturday, right, to discuss some last minute things and I guess official business. And from what I understand, that board meeting was canceled. Why? This is the last board. You telling me that the public don't? I want to hear the explanation, because my cynical side wants to say, oh, this is some bull-ish. Y'all just don't want to come before the public again. That's the cynical side of me. But I've been doing this long enough to know that, you want to hear what people have to say before you react first. So I can't wait to hear that. Maybe it'll come up with Sister Iris in her stream today with the superintendent. I'm not sure if that was a decision made by her or made by other people. I don't know from the board, but it is interesting because, now, my guest yesterday, Ryan Messer, doesn't have to do anything. He was going to bring this up, and he wasn't going to do a motion, but he was going to bring up his new concerns. Now that's not going to happen. And, I've been reading that the CPS teachers are supposed to get vaccinated, like, starting tomorrow. I mean, cool. I mean, sooner is better than later, I guess, but it's not going to make a real difference in terms of them being protected before school starts on Monday or Tuesday. So what? And if all of a sudden whoever is behind this is concerned about time, if time is such a concern, then why not start on March 1st? You'd have 28 days, a full 4 weeks. So I don't know. It's just it feels like some bullshit is going on. That's what it feels like, family, just straight up. But again, I want to, before I go there, I just want to make sure that all of the evidence and all of the facts, because you never know, there's probably some very reasonable, logical, plausible explanations to all of the stuff that we're seeing. So we'll have to find out. Good morning, everybody. Greg writes, much respect to cops and teachers who do the right things and do not abuse their authority. It takes people of certain temperament able to stay calm in tense situations to do these jobs. Oh, yes, it does. And, sometimes I might speak generally speaking, but like I said, I used to work with CPS. So many good people that put it on the line. Really, really good, salt of the earth kind of people, man. I had a great experience. Generally speaking, the worst part about the job was the adults. For me, in my position in youth development, the worst part about the job was the adults. And by adults, I mean the people that I worked for first, because they was all on some other ish. And then just the adults in general. The kids, oh, that's the blessing. The children, oh, shit, that's the fun part. It's the adults, all around it that make youth development so difficult, at least in my opinion. Says Irish like, Nathan, come to co-host today. Okay. I may take you up on that. It's at 4 p.m. I appreciate that. It's typically at 4 p.m. We will be watching. Jacqueline writes, Nate, run for school CPS Board of Education. I appreciate that. I mean, I take that, very humbly, but maybe that says good things about me. The thing about that is the number one reason is because I wonder how I can be the most effective for the community. And so what I've noticed is that when you become a part of these things, I'm really answering my own questions, but what I've noticed is there's a tendency to sort of like become a part of the problem rather than to be that maverick voice, right, from the outside. And I relish, that position. But I appreciate it. Jerome writes, people need to boycott and not send their children to school. This is a matter of life and death. I agree with you. It is a matter of life and death. It certainly is a matter. And listen, we've been talking a lot about what happened yesterday. I just want to give you an update on what's supposed to happen today. Today, we're scheduled to get a Zoom call from a man named Elijah Baker. Elijah Baker was a member of the group Toni. And he's got a new record production company. He put out a documentary. Actually, the documentary is kind of old. It came out like a year ago, which in internet time is like ancient times. That's like eons ago in internet time. And I wonder if some of you may have seen it. There's a link in the description of today's show on Facebook and YouTube. You can check it out for yourself. And I got a chance to watch this. Man, it was a few months ago. And I said, you know what? Let me just reach out to this brother and see if we can get him on, because I thought it was an interesting story. The backstory of Toni. Were you a Toni fan? Maybe you were a Lucy Pearl fan. Maybe. But loyalty, no royalty. The real story of Toni. I don't mean to laugh, man, but damn, they did them brothers wrong. That's all I can say. Did them wrong. But we'll talk to Brother Elijah Baker, or at least we're scheduled to. I always preface things that way. We're scheduled to speak with him at 9 a.m. this morning, one way or the other. So if we can't do the Zoom, then we'll try to get him on the phone and have the conversation, hear his story. It'll be a departure from what we've been talking about. But again, a par for the course for this show. This show will never just be about politics, because that's too damn boring. I'm just be honest with you. I don't want to talk about politics every day, all day. Unless it's something that needs to be discussed, then I'm all over it with a tenacity that very few can follow. That's just me. Let me see. Good morning to you. Good morning, everybody. Tiff writes, good morning. Good morning to you, Tiff. Anthony writes, morning, chop shop. Charles writes, grand risings, Nate and the Choppers. Alicia writes, happy hump day. Glenn writes, morning, Nate and the Choppers. Yesterday's show went viral, did it? Yeah, I got a big response from him, man. I got a lot of well-wishers. People even hit me up on email like, hey, Nate, saw the show, appreciate the flow. The traffic on my website went up. So, yeah, great. Hopefully people got it heard. I wanted to be a resource. I wanted to be a resource for the community. I want people to be like, oh, okay, get more information. Get more information so you can hear from these people. I think it's very important. So in terms of confirmation, I've heard back from all of the school board members except Melanie Bates. I did hear back from Ben Lindy. We're going to try to set that up for Friday morning. Ben Lindy. And then next week, we've got Eve Bolton. I think she's coming on Tuesday. Each and every one of them as individuals made this decision, and each and every one of them asked for your vote as individuals. So individually, we should talk to each and every one of them. I think that's what's fair. And I think that's what's fair to the public as well. I think it's fair to them to not put words in their mouth and project. That's the nature of talk radio, to give opinions and project. But I think it's fair to the board members for us to hear from them in their own words. They can explain themselves. These are grown, intelligent people. But it's also fair to the public. So we have access to them so we can make decisions about them, because at least 4 of them are running for re-election this year. And we need to know whether they're worthy of our vote again. Real simple. Arnell writes, hey, Nate, have you watched Spike Lee's new movie, American Skin? Check it out and let's talk about it. I will. I have not seen it, but I certainly will. I don't get a chance to watch a whole. Typically, my movie going is like right before I fall asleep. I put something on my phone, and then I wake up in the morning and I've watched like 5 minutes of it. You know what I'm saying? But it is what it is. Spike Lee, that American Skin is on Amazon Prime, but you have to pay for it. So that's what you have to do. I think it's like $12 or something like that. At least that's what I saw. I've got to check. I've got like a Fire Stick thing that will update movies on there, and I have to double check and see if it's available there. Then I can watch it it's not for free because I'm paying for the Fire Sticks, so the subscription every month, but it won't be $12. Hey, good morning to you, Kendall. Good morning to you. Andrea writes, good morning, Nate and the Choppers. Renee writes is $7. Joe writes, morning, Nate and the Choppers. Lisa writes, Nate, did you see the CDC recommendations on safe school reopenings? Let me look for it right now. CDC. Let me look it up right now. And while we're doing that, let's we need something, man. Some music behind me or something. CDC officials say schools can reopen during pandemic, but precautions are crucial. But opening schools safely is also require controlling the virus spread within communities, the scientists say. Okay. I'm reading this for the first time, so, I don't want to waste a lot of time reading in front of you, but CDC scientists say that while a return to in-person learning is recommended, schools should limit activities that could increase the risk of transmission, such as indoor sports practices and competitions. See here. Okay. All right. Oh, okay. I'll check this out. Again, I won't have the benefit of looking at it right now, but I'll check it out later. CDC writes, can we ask the board members what relationship they have with the owners of FCC Cincinnati? What gifts or benefits have they received from the group since their deal? JD, hey, good morning to you, JD. I asked that question of the board members, 2 years ago? Remember, we didn't talk to Pam Bowers, we talked to Carolyn Jones, we talked to Eve. I remember asking Carolyn, because Carolyn said she didn't really like the deal. And ultimately, she said that she felt like the deal the FC Cincinnati did was going to go through no matter what. So they just voted for it. And I was like, wait a minute, sis, what you mean? What were they going to do? And she said, well, she thought the city council was going to use eminent domain or some other mechanism at their disposal to force the deal. And I'm like, what? Okay. I mean, that's what she said. So I take her for her word. It didn't make any sense to me, but that's what she said. Can we ask the board? Thank you very Which Toni we getting? Deborah writes, we're getting one of the band members that you never heard of. That's what we're getting this morning. This brother was a member of the band along with some other brothers. Again, he can tell the story far more than I can. I want us to go back through memory lane just a little bit and just get back to the roots of his documentary. So this conversation is going to focus on his documentary. There's a link. You can check it out for yourself. It's called Loyalty, No Royalty, which is consistent to what happened. Yeah, man. Right now everybody talking about Salt and Pepper and Spinderella and they should work together and things like that. But man, listen, what I've observed in my short time on this earth is that people are out for themselves. People are out for themselves. At the end of the day, and again, it ain't everybody, but people will do you dirty so they can get ahead. It is what it is. People will do you dirty. And it ain't just black people, because look at Facebook. Mark Zuckerberg, how do you get the idea for Facebook? Well, he was kind of already working on something around it. But then, a couple of dudes, really it was 3 guys, came to him with an idea to do something called a Harvard Review or something like that has some Facebook-esque elements in it. So what did Mark Zuckerberg do? He put them at arm's bay, installed them, while he took their ideas, put it with his ideas, and created Facebook and became one of the richest guys in the world. Same thing happened with Twitter. If you know the backstory with Twitter, the same thing happened with Twitter. It wasn't, basically there were some people who were involved with the early process of Twitter, and as it started to rise, they got kicked out. I mean, that's human greed. If people think they can get ahead, friends, if people think they can get ahead, they'll do your ass dirty with a smile, like, if they think they're going to benefit. That's just the nature of human beings. And a lot of human beings operate off of the ends justify the means. So at the end of the day, if I'm laying on the beach with a drink, looking at the whatever and chilling, it was worth it. Like, who needs friends when you got millions of dollars in the bank, right? I'm just telling you. So the story of Toni is along those lines. Kendall writes, good morning. Good to see you, Kendall G. Good to see you. Alicia writes, Deshauna writes, good morning, Nate. Everyone have a good day. TNT's in the house. She writes, good morning. Only Mike Morosky deserves the CPS community's vote. Again, that's up for the individuals. I mean, we're a long way off, and I know how human beings are, Jacqueline. So many things are going to happen between now and November. Not the least of which is maybe, relaxing of the COVID precautions, and then people can go back out and do public events and gatherings and things like that. Now, when that happens, a lot of people are going to forget all this stuff. They're going to forget all this stuff. And here's the other thing. If the schools reopen, which they are going to reopen next week, and there are no incidences of COVID and nobody gets sick, then people are going to rethink the outrage they have right now. So that's the other gambit right here we gotta put out there. Like CPS is saying it is safe. Well, if we go to hybrid learning, which we are, and nobody really gets sick and there's no real outbreak, and then the vaccine starts to come in play and we get herd immunity by the summer and there's no real negative reaction, then everything that people are saying right now, you're going to be forgotten. Now, if the schools have to go back to, and you better believe me that the school board is going to do everything they can so that we don't go back to virtual. Because if we go back to virtual, that means that they put our children in harm's way for no reason. So you got to understand where we are. See, I understand these things. They're going to do everything they can. And in my opinion, I don't ever see them going back to virtual, because that would be an admission that they were wrong. And that's something that would stick. I don't see them doing that. I think we're going to stay this way. They're going to push this into the end of school, and it's going to be what it's going to be. I don't see them saying, you know what? We made a mistake again. Because, they did this last year against the wishes of a lot of people as well. But back last year, we weren't in purple. Now we are. So the stakes are higher. So let's keep that in mind. Everybody's outraged, or some people are outraged right now. If there are no repercussions health-wise, if your family don't get sick, if the kids go back to school, if in 2 months they start to go back to 3 days a week and 4 days a week, and there's no real negative outcomes, then people are going to forget all this stuff about what happened on the Nathan Ivey show and who voted what. It won't matter anymore. It's only going to matter if it's a negative outcome. And that these smart people on the school board know that. They know that. And that's why they're going to do everything they can to make it work. You can believe that. They're going to do everything they can. Because if they don't, then it's going to have a lingering effect. People may be affected in November. Okay, but that's like a big maybe. It's a lot that can happen between now and then. So, I say keep that same energy. We'll see. We'll see. Nate, the virus is going nowhere. It's here to stay. I agree with you. But now the vaccine is going to start. Hopefully we get some kind of herd immunity, and we'll see what happens. I think we got better people in charge on the national level now. So let's see if that trickle-down effect actually has an impact here in the city of Cincinnati. I hope it does. I'm hoping for the best. Because we only got one path. So I'm hoping this path is a positive path that ends up great. Nobody gets sick. There's no real outbreak. The teachers don't get super sick. Nobody dies. We get herd immunity by the summer. The herd immunity starts to take effect where the virus has nowhere to go. It ends up dying out. And then in a year from now, we're in a whole better place. That's what I hope. Jerome writes, they will close back down within 30 days. If they close back down within 30 days, then all of the school board members that voted for that who are up for re-election are going to have it's going to make it more difficult for them. They're going to have a lot of things to answer for, put it that way. If they want to be re-elected, they're going to have a lot of things to answer for, because it's not like you can't foresee it. You know what I'm saying? Good morning to you. Good morning. Good morning. Kelly writes, good morning. Good morning, everybody. Raining here in Atlanta. Good morning to you. What's up, Daryl? Sister Iris in the house. Jacqueline says, but they canceled the meeting. No rescheduled date has been announced. Well, they can't reschedule it before school starts on Tuesday. Or they could, but I don't see that happen. Without COVID testing for every returning student and staff, then CPS is playing Russian roulette with unvaccinated staff. Ryan Messer said he understands that. And, he kept saying this is complex. No, it's not complex. It's very simple. There's a global pandemic. Simple as that. I mean, you start right there. Across the board, you're going to have some teachers here or there who are like, hey, I want to go back to school. But the CFT that represents all the teachers, they're saying they think it's unsafe. So, I mean, stop with the BS. Stop with the BS. Some people believe that it's wealthy white folks. I keep hearing Hyde Park white folks. That's what I've been hearing. There's wealthy white folks that's pushing this decision. I don't know. Maybe so. I don't know. We'll find out. Brandy's in the house. She writes, good morning. Good morning to you, Brandy. She's on YouTube. Kush writes, good morning, Nate and the Mighty Choppers. Good morning to you, Kush. He's on YouTube. Ron writes, morning, bruh. Sister Iris writes, good morning. Good information, great dialogue. She writes, I love Toni. Everybody loves Toni. Brian writes, good morning. Good morning to you, Brian. Cleopatra writes, rise and shine, Nathan Ivy and the Choppers. Frenay writes, good morning. Carmelita writes, good morning, good folks. Happy hump day. Hey, same to you. Hold on, I'm getting a message here. Oh, okay. No problem, James. I'm here for you, brother. We can catch up whenever. Cleopatra writes, the data keeps changing. They getting on my nerves. Yeah, the data keeps changing. Brian writes, well, Nate, you what you gotta do what you gotta do. Make it happen, Captain. As a parent, get them back up to par. Yeah, I already know that. Absolutely. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to tell you, man. You was the one complaining to me, you gotta work. I understand. These are my children. I'm not gonna ask somebody to put their life in jeopardy for my children because it's gonna be difficult for me. That's unfair. That's unfair to them. I had these children. That's my son. That's my daughter. Anybody's life gonna be in the line for them, it's gonna be mine, not yours. It's ridiculous. Tiffany writes, good morning. Tiff writes, we have a kindergartner. Wouldn't it be your fault if your child isn't where they need to be? The things they learn in kindergarten should be things already taught at home. Deborah writes, good morning, Wakanda. Good morning to you. Tiffany's in the house. Good morning to you, Tiffany Daniels. Community Connector podcast coming soon next week. Looking forward to it. Listen, if you guys are not hip to her podcast, you should get hip to it. She talks about wealth building. And the thing about Tiffany is she ain't just talking about it. She about it. She doing it. She out there, building wealth in her own family, in her own, with her own children. You got to respect that. Like some people talk about it. Some people are about it. She's about it. And she's the host of Community Connector. Hey, listen, if you're a Patreon, please check your patron feed. Because starting tomorrow, I'm going to reveal to you some of the plans that we've been working on with CDM and what comes next, okay? I will reveal to you first. And to get your feedback, we're moving forward no matter what, but to get your feedback as to what we're working on. We want to make Black History during Black History Month. Next month is Black History Month. I want to make Black History during Black History Month, all right? Before I go any further, I don't want to say another word. We need to take a quick break and hear a word from our sponsor. Again, a great way of supporting the Nathan Ivey Show is supporting the people that support the Nathan Ivey Show. Today's show is brought to you by Team Wellborn. Are you looking for a dream home? Well, if you are, there's a link in today's description, thewellbornexperience.com.
It's that Wellborn experience. It's that Wellborn experience. The Wellborn experience. Experience. It's that Wellborn experience. Yeah, the Wellborn experience. That Wellborn experience. Experience. Tell us what you need. That's the question we start with. We specialize selling condos, houses, apartments. Make sure that you happy with your residence. Keep it real, no filter. Oh, it's the realtor from the nattiest heaven sent. It's the Wellborn experience. Ain't nothing like it. Every time he talk to his client, he's so excited just knowing he able to put him in a place to lay their head, not focusing on his profits, but on the client instead. Right. He keeps it so professional and from his conversation, you can tell he studies before sharing information. Educated, motivated, ain't nobody better. Who's willing to walk you through every step to relieve the pressure? Relieve the pressure. Yeah, and just so you know it's real, you get a special personalized rug once he closes the deal. So go and call him up so he can get you live. 513-252-1055.
Again, that's 513-252-1055. 513-252-1055. Are you looking for a dream home? A dream home. If you're looking for a dream home, contact Team Wellburn this morning. TheWellburnExperience.com. Again, there's a link in the description on Facebook and YouTube. You can check it out for yourself. TeamWellburn@gmail.com. And when you contact them, make sure you let them know you heard about it on the Nathan Ivey Show. I appreciate that in advance. Let me see here. Let's go to the phones. We've got, hold on 1 second here. We got John. John was trying to kind of get in yesterday, but, we were talking with Ryan Messer near the end of when he called in. Hey, good morning, John. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, Mr. Nathan Ivey and the good people of Cincinnati. How are you today, sir?
I'm doing great.
Good.
Welcome to the show, brother.
Good. Before we get to Trump and the Republican parties, I have a whole laundry list. I was down in Georgia putting my brother's remains to rest, his ashes over at my mother's cemetery, and his church, the church, his stone. So I was in Georgia for a number of days and started driving back, and I was able to click in on your flows. The only problem with I can hear you talk loud and clear as I was driving coming back from Georgia, but I couldn't hear the other person to respond to your questions. It seemed like it's a good show format, the whole show. I guess you were interviewing that person, and I think it sounds like your focus was on should these kids go back to school, which it seems like on every major station, MSNBC, CNN, everybody's focused on should the kids go back to school or should they not. Well, before I get your opinion, I like to give you my quick analysis. Well, parents, I don't think you should send your kids back to school. What the heck do we got the technology for? This virus is out of control. It's still out of control. And now we have another strand coming from South America, Europe, Brazil. This thing is a complete mess. Now, I'm not trying to tell you parents out there what to do, but God gave us common sense to use our brains. Why would you risk your child to be among other kids? And come on, the junior high school kids, the little ones, they're going to play, they're going to run, they're going to have fun. That mask won't last too long over their nose. Okay, the teacher has some control in the school system to distance them, but still, the virus is out of control. And now we had one or two other strands that are more powerful than the last one. Come on, people, common sense. I have a cousin, I have an aunt here in Florida, and she has a daughter that has a daughter, straight A student. She's entering high school. She's straight A's. And she said when that virus happened, she pulled her daughter last year out of that school, and she's self-taught at home. She can easily get the work from the teacher. Everything is electronically. Come on, everything is out there, the tools, the computer, the internet, enough to keep your daughter or son busy so that they can be protected. But until they get those shots, why would you risk your child out there? That doesn't make any sense. To be continued. But as I indicated, Mr. Nathan Ivey, your flows sound pretty good, but I couldn't hear the respond on who you were talking to. So you might want to check out your equipment there, because I heard you loud and clear as I was driving back to Florida, but I couldn't pick up what that response of that other person. So it was a lot of gap in darkness other than hearing your voice. So I couldn't hear what he or she was saying. Maybe you want to recap that your flows from yesterday and who you were talking to.
All right, John. I appreciate you, brother.
Well, are you gonna recap, or you want me to get right into my flows of Trump?
I've been recapping. But yeah, I am aware of that. So if you are watching on Facebook or YouTube, you can get the full show. Still haven't figured out how to make sure that people, when I have people on Zoom, because he was on a Zoom, if you were calling in like you are right now, then people on the audio stream could hear it. I still haven't figured that out. My apologies on that. But I did update it. So for people who go back and check out yesterday's show, you'll be able to hear all of it. So that's the update. And in terms of what we talked about, I've been updating it all morning long because it's a real serious issue here in Cincinnati.
Okay. Yeah, well, yes, I think it's a serious issue in Cincinnati, and it's a serious issue across the country as parents try to weigh and make a decision should they allow their kids to go back to school or not. As far as I consider, if they have not gotten that shot, and if they're not tooled to tell them they have to keep the mask on once they leave the house, and in school they cannot take the mask off. But if a parent chooses to want to send their child to school, I would if I had any kids. Well, I don't have any kids, but if I can keep my child home and still get the proper information technology-wise, the internet from the teacher, virtual reality is all out there, everybody. And I understand a lot of teachers are cautious. They don't want to go back either. They choose to want to do the virtual reality studies at home. The technology is there. We have everything, people. What's the big deal? But until you get that shot, I say leave that child home. Touch base with the school system, touch base with the teacher, get all the information you need for the school year so that child is not left behind. Okay, let's get right into the foolishness with the Congress and the Senate. Here we go, kiddies. Hold on to your bootstraps. You know, when I listened to watch on Monday or Tuesday when they were walking the paperwork over from into the Senate to impeach Trump, I have two questions for you, Mr. Nathan Ivey, and hopefully you can answer that. Why would you impeach a man that's no longer in the White House anymore? Okay, I'll tell you why I say that. Okay, I heard the bits and pieces, and people say the Democrats are playing checkers and Trump is playing chess and Republicans are playing games. Well, you know where the Republicans are going to come from. They're not going to hold hands and sing Kumbaya, Lord. It's not going to happen. So it's ways that Biden will step around them, but impeaching doesn't make any damn sense to me. You know, you might as well fluff Trump in with the rest of 150. It's an update, 150 arrests by the feds, and those numbers are going to climb. But Trump could have been fluffed right in there with the charges. But impeaching, Mr. Nathan Ivey, I think the fix is in. As much as I want Trump locked up on a federal, it may not happen. I don't think it's going to happen. The fix is in. And the reason why I say that, let's go back in time. Reagan and Senior Bush and Oliver North with that Iran-Contra garbage, they should have been locked up. Republicans and Democrats let him get away with it. Then Junior Bush, well, Barack Obama, you read about me. I won't tell you what I got prizes for Barack Obama, the crimes he committed. We'll get to him another day. But here comes Junior Bush and Cheney. Crimes, creating a war that nobody wanted. 5,000 American soldiers dead. You know, that was a joke. And what did Barack Obama do when he came in? He let Bush and Cheney off the hook. So now here we get Trump. Trump took it over the cliff, the whole country. Over 400,000 people dead. Over close to 24 million people infected. The country is shut down. And I think Trump will escape the ultimate charges. But let's not forget the interview that Biden did last month. And when he indicated to Lester Holt, you know, I don't want to deal with those federal charges. But he says, I have no control over the state charges. And that may get Trump. Well, let's wait and see. So, but I'd like to hear your comments. And I don't know if you had a chance to comment on the factless Republicans. We know where they're going and we know where they're coming from. But why would you charge Trump? He's not president. It would have been easier to charge him under the federal charges of what he incited a massive riot trying to take over the federal government. He should have been clustered in with those 150 cretins that are locked up. How did that one woman that went into Nancy Pelosi's office and took the laptop and nobody could find the laptop and she tried to sell it to the Russians? Oh, all right. I'll shut up a second and let you comment, sir. Go ahead.
Well, John, listen, thank you for the call. I appreciate it. So let me open the phone lines and try to answer as much of that as I can remember. So the gist of it was, why impeach Trump? Well, because he might have committed a crime, because it might be the right thing to do. Simple as that. I mean, just because you leave office don't mean you shouldn't be held responsible for the things that you do. Period. Because it sets the right tone, the right example. It might dissuade the next despot or authoritative type of president to do something similar. It's the right thing to do. It's this right to hold people accountable for their actions. That's what they do now, where I live at. Like you go to your job and you do something criminal or incite violence, and you'll probably lose your job and still get charged. That happens to people every single day. Every day, working class people, you go on a job, you commit a crime, you're going to lose your job, and you're still going to get charged. Why is Trump exempt of that? But I do agree with you on one point, that the Republicans are already changing their tune. It's going to end the same way that the first impeachment did. It's going to come down around partisan lines. And by what I've read most recently, maybe about 5 or 6 at the most, Republicans might vote to impeach Trump. They need, 19? So I don't think Trump's going to be convicted. I don't think that's going to happen at all. You already hear people saying, hey, let's show Trump some mercy. Trump showed no one any mercy. I personally don't have a problem with it. The only problem I have with it is that it gets in the way of the check. You know, what people need that relief check. You know, we want to see the Biden agenda for working class Americans. Anything that holds that up, I'm against. But Trump deserves to be impeached. Lying ass bastard. He deserves to be impeached. I wish they could impeach him for lying about, birtherism. Should have impeached his ass then. So I ain't got no sympathies for Trump whatsoever. Whatever happens to him, happened to him. What I care about is that agenda. And Senate should be able to walk and chew gum at the same time. They should be able to go after this dude with the impeachment process and also handle the business for the people. Simple as that. I mean, damn. Everybody else in America is supposed to be juggling 3 things with 2 hands and 1 foot, and while you're dealing with a pandemic, the Senate can't impeach the president who deserves it and work on policy. Get the fucking work. Take your fucking vitamins and do what you got to do for the American people. Simple as that. So all this belly aching about, it's going to be too much work. Well, tell that to people out here that's really working every day during a pandemic. I want to hear that nonsense. Oh, it's going to be hard. So is life. Let's go back to the phones. Good morning. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, Mr. Ivy. This is your West Side Connection.
Hey, good morning. You still there?
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
I don't hear anybody. Does this drop?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you sound super low. Drop.
Can you hear me now?
It's almost imperceptible.
Okay, hold on a second. I think I gotta. I'm suffering from technical difficulties just like you, Mr. Ivy.
Yeah, I hear that.
You can hear? Can you really? Oh, okay. I mean,
sound better. You sound better.
Live,
you sound better. You sound better. I can hear you now. Can y'all hear him?
Okay.
Yeah, I think we got you now. Good morning, everybody.
I'm trying because. Yes. Good morning, everybody. This is Drop Squad 52, Black Not Democrat, soon to be the host of the new podcast, Black Not Democrat, and I'm in the lab, Mr. Ivy. Right now, I'm talking to you through the Rodecaster Pro, and like I said, I'm in the lab. The learning curve is a mofo, but I'm gonna get it down, Mr. Ivy. I'm gonna get it down, and I just wanted to call in. I mean, it's great that I happen to follow John. I mean, whew, I feel black to follow John from Florida. But I hope you're listening, John, because the 46th president of the United States, Joe Biden, he is not doing his part when it comes to the African Americans in the Democrat Party who put him in office. Because those executive orders that he signed yesterday, Mr. Ivy, I'm sure you're aware of it, he's labeling those as payouts to the black voter. He did not introduce any legislation like he did for the asylum seekers and the illegal immigrants and the DACA children. He introduced that legislation last week. He said it. This is the legislation to grant citizenship or a pathway to citizenship for the dreamers. Legislation. But for black Democrats, no. He signed executive orders. But of course, you got some people like Glenn from Mason who woke up this morning excited for some executive orders, and he sounded like this. Well, it's easier to be a parent this morning. It's easier to be a dad. It's easier to tell your kids.
We can't hear that, man. Wait. Can we not test your equipment during the live broadcast of my show? Can we do that, please? I mean, can we do this off mic, away from the air?
I'm sorry, Mr. Ivy. I'm gonna hang up.
Thank
but
you.
Again, the learning curve is a mofo. So I'm gonna get back in the lab and I'm gonna stop experimenting on your show until
Live. I mean, I don't mind.
down.
Listen, you already know I'm available to
100%.
talk away from the live show, but I don't want to do it live until you perfect it. I got too many of my own technical difficulties.
Oh, I heard that this morning.
Right.
John called you out. Something that you've been dealing with for a long time.
Oh,
But
yeah,
anyway, Mr. Ivy,
I'm upfront
I
about it.
appreciate you allowing me to mess up your show for these last 5 minutes.
Yes, thank you.
But anyway,
you're very welcome.
But anyway, the next time I call to be part of your show, I'm not gonna try to do what I'm doing as the Black Not Democrat podcast until I get it 100%.
Okay.
But that those executive orders, Mr. Ivy, I know somebody better speak up because they brought out. I hate to say it, Cedric. What is his name? Cedric. He's the new spokesman. I can't think of his name. He was on the impeachment team last year. His first name is Cedric. I can't remember his name. He was head of the Congressional Black Caucus, but he's coming out saying, "Oh, well, these are things that we need to do for people of color and all indigenous people." So again, they say that the executive orders are for racial equity. What the hell is racial equity, Mr. Ivy? I've heard of racial equality. What the hell is racial equity? So again, Mr. Ivy, just get ready. We're only a week in, and they already struggling with trying to impeach a president who is no longer in office. So again, let the circus begin, and it's going to be a long 2 years for Sleepy Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. So that's all I got, Mr. Ivy. Drop Squad 52, Black Not Democrat, coming soon.
Yeah, I appreciate that, brother. I've already told him, away from the live and show. Yeah, if I got time, like I said, I'm open to my supporters, the people that rock with me, I rock with you. You support me, I support you 100%. You know what I'm saying? And I'm here to, you want to call me and check out the equipment away from the live show, I'm here for it. That's the least I could do. I'm here for it. Him and anybody else, any of the choppers. Got some questions about podcasting. Of course, this is my expertise that I get paid to share. But with you, oh, absolutely. My supporters, hit me up. I'm right there. Answer any questions you got. But I like the Black Not Democrat thing. I think it'll catch on. I hope you get way bigger than me. Get super big. And then don't forget about the little people. And then I'm going to call your show and work on my stuff. Drop. And I don't want to hear you ain't got time for me. Don't get a big head when you blow up, Drop. But Drop's good people though, man. That's Drop, Squad 52. And I love what he said. He said, I'm in the lab. That's a great place to be in. I don't care how old you are. You should always be in the lab on something, learning something new. That's a beautiful thing. And I support that, brother, 100%. I meant what I said. It's going to be dope. It's going to be super dope. Greg writes, good morning, Nate and Choppers. Brian writes, just like the cops, that's the job they chose. They knew this going in. Much respect to cops and teachers. I couldn't do it, but right now, my concern is Junior. When you called in, you said your concern was your job. That's what you said. You said, we got to work. What about us working? I'm going to work. And so my question is that that's your son. Why would you ask these teachers to put their life on the line so you can work? It's unfair. That's your child. If anything should have to suffer, it shouldn't be their life. It should be your work. It is what it is. That's your child. You trying to switch this all around, B? Nah, hell no. That's your child. The kids that me and my wife had, we responsible. Nobody else. I don't care all this stuff about the village and good intentions. Be damn, ain't nobody shutting up over here dropping off nothing. Nothing. And so I missed it. I got some bills you can take care of. That ain't happening, isn't it? Because you taking care of your house. And that's the way it should be. You wish the best. You share where you can. You want to be concerned where you can, but you got your own responsibilities. I think it's wrong for these whining ass, belly aching, complaining parents who only care about their job, which I'm not saying that's a small thing because you got to have money. But if anything should have to suffer, it shouldn't be their health. It should be your job. for your children. Stop me when I'm wrong. This is basic. But see, we live in a world where nobody's responsible for anything anymore. It's always somebody else's responsibility. No, it's your responsibility. Those are your children. I don't put my children on. I'm responsible. We are responsible 100%. We do everything, have done everything for those kids, and will continue to do so for the rest of my lifetime. If somebody else wants to come in and do something extra, cool, but that's extra. The everyday meat and potatoes, that's Mr. and Mrs. Ivy doing it. And I wouldn't expect anything else. I ain't looking for nobody to do a damn thing. And I don't want to put some teacher's life at risk. It's very, very, it's a touchy situation, I know. Because people say you being harsh. I am being harsh. I'm being harsh in a world that's super softy. Everybody's super soft, talking about their feelings and how they grew up and daddy didn't do this and mommy didn't do that. Toughen up. Toughen up. Make it happen, Captain. Renee writes, good morning, everyone. Happy Wednesday. Don't wish for it, work for it. I know that's right. Because wishing don't mean nothing. Oh, please make it happen. You'll be in the same position. God helps those who helps themselves, for my people that like to pray. You can pray all day. You don't put no action behind it. You ain't going to make no movement. Okay, what your intentions are. Okay, how much you tithe. Or how much volunteer work you do. If you got something you want to make happen, if you don't push for it with action, then it's just going to be a wish. Great flows. Good morning, everyone. Make it a wonderful Wednesday. We're going to try. We're going to try. That's the plan. Greg writes, replying to Brian, much respect to cops and teachers who do the right things and do not abuse their authority. Yeah. I think I read that already. I'm catching up to your chat here. Renee writes, I would love to see Toni in mid-condition verses. That would be dope. Deborah writes, that's the pleasure part. I love Toni. Yo, yeah. Who don't? Feels good. You don't have to say that at least. You don't want to hear this voice this early in the morning. You don't want to hear that. It'll turn you off. You know, I used to like Nate. That's what you'll be thinking. I don't want to do that. Arnell writes, Fire Stick is where I watched it. Okay, I haven't been on the Fire Stick searching for movies in a while. I'll go back and check it. It might be there, and if so, I'll put it on my list. Man, I got a list longer than any measurement stick that I have available in my home. I got some measuring tape. It's not long enough to measure the list of stuff on my things to watch. And I definitely want to see that. Dope premise. Nate Parker, I think, produced or directed it. I think produced by Spike Lee on some levels. And looks great. Marcia writes, good morning, Nate Choppers. Good morning to you. I appreciate you. Let me see here. Give me one second here. I know out of focus with the camera a little bit. But it'll be okay. All right. I don't want to do that. I just want to do that. There we go. See here. Nate, the virus is going nowhere. I'm catching up here. I'm way back at 8:30. So I'm only 20 minutes behind. Luther Campbell needs to make amends with Brother Marquise. They have a legacy that they could make a biopic. I was thinking this yesterday. Marquise had an interview about what went down with 2 Live Crew after the money and the contracts. Well, that's human beings, man. It really is. It's human beings. You know, a lot of these groups broke up because of personal issues. Sometimes it's money. Sometimes it's ego. You know, sometimes it's some kind of personal issue, some kind of personal beef. You know, that's human beings. The story of Toni, at least from the perspective of the brother, again, we're scheduled maybe 3 minutes away, and his name is Elijah Baker. Again, he's scheduled. Again, I keep prefacing that way. That is the schedule. That's my intention. Until it happens, it ain't happening. That's always been my attitude about it. So we'll see. But that story, listen, it's worth your time to go back. If you're a Toni fan and you like that kind of like R&B and those kind of documentaries, woo, man. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, really? It was sad. There's parts of it I was like, damn, they did you like that? Did them dirty. But it is what it is. Greg writes, what is the current today blended learning at Walnut Hills? You get different answers based on who you're speaking with. Currently, there is no blended learning at Walnut Hills because everybody's virtual. The plan for Walnut Hills is going to be similar to the plan for all the other schools, where they're going to have like an A and a B kind of class, as I understand it, and then they'll alternate. So students will attend school 2 days a week, and then 2 days a week they'll have instructional, and then 1 day a week I think it'll be a pause, which I think is either Monday or Wednesday. I have to double check it. D-Mob got bars. Oh, that's Tanika. Yeah. I forget who Brother Otis told me did it, but whoever did it did a great job. I think it was tremendous bars. Tremendous. What you talking about, the promo jingle? Yeah, absolutely. It's very and it sticks in your head. Very well done. Everyone doesn't want to take that shot. Absolutely. Tiff writes, Nate, you need to find and interview a parent that wants to send their kid back to school. I would like to hear their viewpoint. I'm sure there are plenty of them out there. You know what, Tiff, great minds think alike. I thought the same thing, to bring balance to the conversation. I thought the same exact thing. And I had an interview set up for yesterday. White male who, as I understand it, is a real force sort of behind the scenes, working with and pushing the school board to go back. I had him set up to give us a call yesterday at 8:15 a.m., but he didn't call in. And his name came up. His name is escaped, Matt something. But Matt called me personally Monday and was lightweight going off. And I was like, hold on, Matt, let's be reasonable here, because what are you talking about, brother? I mean, I didn't say anything negative about you. I just wondered who you are. And he seemed to simmer down a little bit. And he agreed to call into the show because I agree with you. I'm looking for that viewpoint. I wanted to bring balance to my own opinion. This is my opinion. I don't have to be right. I don't have to be wrong, but I do recognize that there's another side. So you know what? I'm not going to rest on my laurels. I'll reach out to some parents and see if we can get them on this week to bring their perspective, because I think that is very valuable here in CPS. And we got people in the chop shop that's like, man, y'all better get back in school for whatever reason. Danita's been very loud about saying that, very vocal, should I say, about saying that, give parents a choice. Give parents a choice. So, but to have an interview, one-on-one, I'm with you on that. Glenn Rice, did John vote? No, he didn't vote. Vote for what? Jesse Rice, John thinks it's funny calling in talking about politics. Glenn writes, can we get back to CPS issues, Nate? Eric writes, Nate, they are the majority. Nate is becoming the equivalent to a Fox News personality, unwilling to even consider other viewpoints. Really? Where'd they do that at? Eric, you got me all wrong, bro. You got me all wrong, as I just said. See, I'm just reading this. That's not true at all. I'm very interested in the other side. Very interested. The phone number, let me put the phone number up here so people can share their thoughts. I might have been remiss in doing it so far. 513-873-7134. I'll give you well, hold off a second, because I'm trying to hook up with brother Elijah here to talk about Toni. And if for whatever reason we can't do it today, because sometimes things happen, I haven't checked my email or my messages. I'll check it here since I'm saying it in a second. Then I'll try to catch up with him very, very soon. That's why I'm always very shy about. See, I did something this morning that I don't normally do. And even though I have guests, what I don't normally do is to make the guest the cover art. And the reason why is I've just learned from doing this over many years that there's so many uncontrollable variables, especially when you're doing something, over the internet. People's schedules change. Emergent situations come up, all kinds of things happening. People's attitudes change. It's like, you know what? People oversleep. But, I felt confident. And if we can't get them today, then I'll reach out to them and try to get them very, very soon. No issues. Matter of fact, if that happens, then people will have more of a chance to check out that documentary. And then you might have some quality questions to add as well. I think if you like documentaries, you're interested in that kind of topic, you'll get into it. And just so people know, and I'll say this for the third time on today's show, I am far more than a political animal. That's just one facet of what I'm interested in. And of course, as any talk show is, it's a reflection of what the interests are of the host and the audience. It's been my opinion that people, the audience, is into a wide world of things. I'm into music. I'm into culture. I'm into politics. I'm into people. I'm very much a people watcher. And so over the years, this show, I think we've been doing a lot more politics than when we really started. I'm into the latest in literature. fiction and nonfiction. I'm into UFOs, gaming, technology. I'm into a lot of different things. So I want the show to be more of a reflection of that. I just still feel like it'd be more interesting. That's just me. But again, when it's time to talk local politics, knives out. Knives out. You already know we going deep, we going hard, we fearless, we tearless. I'm gonna give it to you as straight as possible. And I want to talk with the newsmakers and the people that are leading the conversations in a way that nobody else can and or will. So that's my endeavor locally. I'm super local. I'm all about the local. That's my wheelhouse. I want to talk about local issues from a perspective from our community. That's who my audience is. I mean, quite frankly, the vast majority of people listening to my shows look like me. So that's who I speak to. And I've just learned that I have to reiterate that, if not, people will forget. They'll forget who they're listening to. And I think that's very important, though. Tracy writes, John has no clue what's going on. He has no clue. Because John don't listen to the show. John just calls into the show. He don't listen to the show beforehand. He might call in afterward, like he said. I was surprised he said that because, in my opinion, he don't listen to the show until afterward. So that's probably what happened yesterday. He don't be thinking about the show until he gets off the line, and then he wants to know if people are reacting to what he said. It is what it is. That's how John is. I take the good. I don't think there's any bad. Brian writes, so we reduce people's ideas to whether they vote or not? Stop trying to reduce ideas about politics or voting. Revolutions have happened around the world. Movements at hand happen. That's the biggest politics. I say, even though they don't always agree. I say that even though I don't always agree with John, he says. That was Brian. Glenn writes, there's precedent, John, to impeach someone after leaving office. It's been done before. Right. I had to be corrected on that. You're right about that. He don't have anything outside of Trump. TNT writes, they don't know what's coming in the door on day one. Families have to risk the health of their household for eager, restless parents who probably sent their kids to school ill knowingly because they have to go to work. They already do it at daycares because they have to go to work. Right. I'm sympathetic, man, because I got to go to work. My wife has to go to work. If you don't go to work, then who's going to feed your family and take care of them bills? Who's going to pay for the internet? Nobody, right? I get it 100%. But the only thing that I would say is that I've already said, I don't want to beat a dead horse here. I've already said it. You got to be responsible in that way. You know what I'm saying? It's on you. Deshauna writes, I can listen to him talk all day. LOL. His voice so calm. You talking about John? John does have a very soothing voice. And the thing about John is what I'll tell you is that John is the same person in person as he is on the phone. He reminds me of a Simpsons character. He does. In the way he looks and his voice, he just something, and I don't mean that in any way negatively. I mean that very affectionately. I got nothing but love and affection toward John. I think very highly of that man. That's why I tolerate his ass, because he tolerates me. I'm a simple creature, y'all. I ain't trying to be super dope and super complex. I'm real simple. You support this man supports you, period. I can't be more transparent than that. I rock with the people that rock with me. It's not that I'm against anybody. I'm for everybody. But you rock with me? You support me? Oh, hell no. I support you. Simple as that. And I practice that. I project that. That's what I'm all about. That's just basic human nature. So I think very affectionately of John, very highly. He's a very intelligent man too. Very highly intelligent man who is the author of books, and he's cultured. And John do a lot of dope things. He might come off as a little bit dense and narrow, but he is not. He is not. John is a world traveler. Very cultured, very intelligent man who's producing things. He ain't just talking about it. Like, the man is a published author. I got his book on my bookshelf right behind me. I don't know where exactly it is. It might be down below. But he's a published author. I think that's his second book in Black culture, by the way. So, I give respect where respect is due. So I just want to say that. I don't want nobody get the wrong impression about me and John. I might criticize him, because that's my brother, man. I got to tell him when he's looking crazy and sounding crazy. But nah, I got nothing but love and affection for the brother. Let me see here. Actually, it doesn't. They have 2 sessions in the Senate. What do you think of the release yesterday from the Biden administration about addressing some of our issues? Hold on a second. Did I miss something? Let's see here. Biden aims to tackle Americans' racial inequity crisis. Okay. Let me see the racial inequity crisis here. Let me check this out real quick, because I'm reading this for the first time. I'll be honest with you, this wasn't on my radar screen, but I think it's important since you brought it up. Just 20 days on from one of the most shocking moments in modern history, Biden on Tuesday made his most detailed policy moves yet on the issue, with a series of executive orders on the crisis haunting his presidency, sure to endure once COVID-19 and blah, 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 blah. We got Glenn on the line. Hold on one second, Glenn. I'll bring you straight on. I'm fast reading this. Speed reader, right? Quote, the president has committed the whole of our government to advance racial justice and equity for all. That's Susan Rice, head of Biden's Domestic Policy Council. These aren't feel-good policies. The evidence is clear. Investing in equity is good for economic growth, and it creates jobs for all Americans. Okay, so let me look through this a little bit more, but that sounds good. I mean, I would rather him talk about this than be talking about some damn Harriet Tubman on a $20 bill, which, as I told you 2 days ago, I don't give a damn about that at all. But let me take a look at that a little bit more, Daryl. But we got Glenn on the line. Let me go to Glenn first. Hey, good morning, Glenn. Welcome to the show.
What's going on, Nate? How you doing, man?
I'm doing great. Welcome.
I was calling in to agree with you on John. I actually believe that John fashions himself as an intellectual. I just don't get why someone with this intellect doesn't vote. That's the thing that confounds me. I actually think John's a smart guy.
Oh, yeah.
But he doesn't put his opinions into action. And I think voting puts your opinion into action. I said it before, Nate. Ever since I got my first chance to vote, man, I came in there like Public Enemy. I was like, hell what the people say. It was my one time to stick my middle finger up to the government or whoever I'm voting against. So that's how I've always kind of interpreted voting, at least when I was younger. Let me also say this. Nate, I believe that I posted an article in the Friends of the Nathan Ivey Show Facebook page about the announcements and what you can expect from the executive orders that he made yesterday. But I also saw an interview. I want to say Patrice. Jesus, I wrote this down. I apologize. Patrice Cloward. She's the co-founder and the CEO of the Black Lives Matter movement, and she was on yesterday on MSNBC. You know, I watch that probably more than most, but I watch everything. And she was saying basically what you've been saying, Nate, that these are all great starts, but we need to, advance and we need to have more tangible, which I think we can all agree. And then, and what, 9 days in, we're probably addressing things that, Nate, hell, it seems like Barack Obama didn't take his head on as what Joe Biden's doing right now. And I think it also speaks to the desperation of what has happened the last 4 years. And I'll use this analogy, Nate. You can imagine, as much as we thought that George W. Bush was, kind of slow, afflicted, he let Dick Cheney just overrun him in his presidency, and he made very bad decisions. But when Barack Obama transitioned into the Bush White House, there was some sense of normalcy. Can you imagine Joe Biden and his administration, who didn't go through the normal transition that other presidents have gone through as far as, transitioning from one administration to the next. But can you imagine a complete cluster, the paperwork, just everything behind the scenes that we know to be just part of the inner workings of government, and the people that Donald Trump was able to put in those positions, just how screwed up things are, Nate? It's like you taking over the Donald Trump podcast and find out that he didn't have a microphone, a laptop, an interface, nothing. He was just speaking in the metal cans. Have you seen the cover page of the Time magazine?
I have not. That's a great analogy. I like that. But no, I have not.
Yeah. Yeah, they got a picture of Joe Biden, standing in an Oval Office, looking out, the window like everybody else does into the Rose Garden. He got paperwork stacked up on his desk.
I have seen it.
Yeah, it was like reminiscent of what he's coming into after what happened on January 6th. I think it's very apropos. I mean, I could just imagine having to come in and clean up this mess, especially with how big and enormous our government is after a Donald Trump administration. I mean, Nate, now they're trying to play the whole, General Austin, Secretary of Defense, first African American to be in that position, Secretary of Defense. Well, he received the same waiver as, Mad Dog Mattis. Remember when they loved him because his name was Mad Dog, and Mad Dog mean we might kick a little more ass than we did in the previous administration. That whole thing. Well, he received the same waiver as Mattis. Then on the conservative stations, they trying to play why does Joe Biden always have to, announce that it's the first black this, and the first indigenous Indian that? And I had to explain to him, well, that's American history. It is what it is. Believe me, we all know in Black America that there was a brother qualified to be Secretary of Defense a long time ago. That's like them trying to, remember when Art Shell was hired as the first head coach, African-American head coach in the NFL? That was 1986, man. That was the year I graduated from Woodward High School.
Was that the Raiders?
Yes.
Yeah.
And nobody could tell me that before, I don't know, the first brother to ever enter NFL up until 1986 wasn't qualified for the job. GTFOA. That's what I say to those people all the time. That's why they don't like me, because what happens, Nate, especially with conservatives, if you use their words against them, they don't like with the mirror that you're holding in front of them. Because in front of them, there's Donald Trump. In front of them used to be family values. Now it's grab them by the peak. In front of them used to be, well, we can play the affirmative action card, but, they can look and see that, oh, Jared Allen was in charge of Middle East Jared Kushner was in charge of Middle East policy. What the hell does he know about Middle East policy? He's a landlord. He's a slumlord at that. So, man, I just wanted to get that off, man. I know you don't want to get heavy into politics. I will say this. Your show did go viral yesterday. A lot of people were talking about it, man. So, I mean, and I'm like, hey, check out the Nathan Ivey show. This is what they talk about. So I'm throwing it out there too for you. But mad props to you, man. Like I said, I told you this earlier. I think people realize from the last election cycle going into, a body of politics in 2021, they got to come through CDM, Nate. And I think they realize it. You speaking directly to the people that need to be spoken directly to. So you have a good one, brother, and I appreciate you taking my call.
Appreciate it. I would say all the podcasts, man. And, that's why, and I'll say this again, if you are a content creator or creative person, perhaps we can work together. Perhaps we can amplify your voice. Perhaps there's something that will be mutually beneficial. If you ever thought about doing a podcast, or you had a podcast idea, maybe we can be a part of it. And what we're doing now may look differently in a year from now, 6 months from now. Okay. But if you are someone that has skills, I'm looking to expand our roster. If you're someone that's super dope as an audio editor, perhaps we can work together. If you're someone who's super dope as a graphic artist, perhaps we can work together. If you're someone who is a videographer, or you're good at video editing, I've got a few ideas. Maybe we can work together. If you're an entrepreneur, perhaps we can work together and think about some creative ways to connect you, with your customers. I keep seeing people do the same thing the same ways. I've been in media for 20 years. I've been in the digital space individually for like 4 years, and have amassed a lot of experience, have tried a lot of things, and have come up with some things I think will work that I don't see people actually doing. So maybe that's something we could do together. If you're interested, hit me with a direct message and I'll reach out. I will reach out today and set up a time for us to talk when it's convenient to you. And I mean that 100%. There's so much talent in the greater Cincinnati area. And I want to tap into it and amplify it, with CDN. That's the whole point of it. So yeah, the show, we got some visibility yesterday. That's great. But there's a lot of shows, there's a lot of shows that we're working with. And I think very highly of everybody, quite honestly. That's the whole point. There's so many folks out there that have something to say, that has a voice that needs to be amplified, but maybe they don't have the experience or the know-how. That's where I come in. That's where we come in from CDM. Perhaps we can work together and build something beautiful. I'm down. Again, anyone who knows me knows I'm a collaborator. I'm a collaborator at heart. Let's collaborate. Let's partner. Let's work together. Something that's mutually beneficial. I am here. Let's do it. Let's do it. All right, 513-873-7134. So let me check my messages here, see if I missed something. I did have a guest schedule. And again, these things happen. Okay, no messages. Things happen. You never know. You never know. Brother could have overslept or whatever. I'm not sure. I did confirm with him last night. But if it doesn't happen today, I'm confident it'll happen soon. These things happen. But I'm prepared to do what I do no matter what. That's the one thing about, I tell people about talk radio, is that, you got to be prepared for that time. If you commit to an hour, then that's an hour. And you got to be prepared to do it, whether you get any phone calls or any text messages whatsoever. You got to be prepared to rock, to talk in an entertaining way for an hour or 30 minutes or 15 minutes. And you should never prepare a show preparing for phone calls. I learned that the hard way. And I learned, because I had some good folks helping me way back in corporate media. You got to be prepared to rock. And if you're not, you're going to run into some difficulties. And I always am. Let me see here. Let me see a lot of comments coming in here. Dale writes, lies. Susan Rice is heading up addressing our issues. TNT writes, parents who don't want their kids to go back are complaining because it's too tough, but because the health of their child and household will now be at risk. Thank you, CPS. TNT is going hard. She going hard. I would never listen to a show because he lies. You talking about drop? I'm definitely going to listen to a show. I'm going to be honest with you. And, if I can help him promote the show with our audience, I'm going to do that too. Because he did it for me. So I'm going to do it for him. I think it's going to be dope. Like I said, I think that the Black, not Democrat perspective is a valuable perspective. Like, I honestly believe that. Not every Black person is a Democrat. You shouldn't have to be. You should be true and consistent to your intelligence and your experience and your viewpoint. If that puts you on the opposite side of the Democrat Party, then so be it. If it's intelligent and logical. If it's some dumbish, then, you just join a long list of dumb fuckers right next to these QAnon folks. Have you heard the latest with QAnon? Oh, QAnon's back. See, that's how they get you with these cults. Most of these cults, man, it's like some date in the near future is going to be the end of all time, right? And then that date comes and nothing happens. Like Mecha Godzilla and King Kong don't rise from the bottom of the ocean. You see that trailer for that new movie? The Armageddon doesn't happen. So what did the cult leaders tell you? Oh, we're going to push the date back. And so now QAnon is looking toward some day in like March where something's supposed to happen. Some old dumb-ish, man. What the hell? QAnon. But, listen, some people, are into Star Wars and some people are into QAnon. So it is what it is. Jesse writes, you need to return that equipment. Oh, man, that's hilarious. Charles writes, drop show some class. This isn't a show within a show, right? He calling the show trying to do his show. TNT writes, drop is crazy. He is, man. Alicia writes, dropping nonsense and BS since 1960. Nat writes, Drip complaining about Black people getting equity, shaking my damn head. Yo writes, Glenn, what the hell did you do to drop? He ain't on your ish. LOL, right. He ain't feeling him at all. Greg writes, I could not hear the clip Drop tried to play, but I heard yesterday that Biden's EO addresses racial equity. And at least according to what Biden's team says, I have heard you advocate for equity. I have to look at the EO, but the executive order. But if they are serious about equity, that is a good thing, a concrete thing, which would be positive if the Biden administration does it, would be DOJ oversight of local police departments, which Trump's DOJ ended. Equity policy intangibles, we have to wait and see. Where's Ice Cube? Ice Cube! Let me go to Ice Cube's Twitter and see if he's talking about his black agenda. Or is that just some bullshit he trying to bring up to help Trump? Let's see here. 21 hours ago, we will miss you, Kobe. Yeah, I didn't talk about it yesterday. Of course, yesterday was the 1-year anniversary of Kobe Bryant's death. Wow. And he and his daughter and those other people that died, some children as well, just tragic. Tragic. And then you had, members of law enforcement that went to the scene and took photographs of it. And they were showing the photographs like the grisly aftermath. Just imagine what that might look like. You had, 6 people that died in a helicopter crash? You talking about mangled body intertwined with metal, charred remains of children. You have members of law enforcement, they got reprimanded and suspended because they took photographs of it and then was showing them to people at local bars. The hell? They should have been fired. Shelly Shell writes, good morning. Good morning to you. Let me see. Dariki writes, we need to, as the Native Black Americans, need to start making demands now for reparations. No one else is going to do this for us. Well, I think what we need to do is, if reparations that is something that's important to you, then when we're voting for our congressional representation, 1st district, 2nd district, whatever district you might be in, that needs to be a condition for your vote. Because it's going to start in Congress, right? Like if FBA, Foundational Black Americans, descendants of FBA, so DFBA, the descendants of Foundational Black Americans, are able to get reparations, it's going to start in Congress. So that means that when you're voting in the 1st congressional district or 2nd congressional district or 3rd, 4th, 5th, whatever district, that has to be important to you. That means that Rob Portman is not seeking re-election. White male Republican. He's one of the senators from the state of Ohio. He's not seeking re-election. He announced that. So that is all this talk, Jason Williams on Twitter, Democrats and Republicans are speculating who's going to take his place. It looks like maybe Kate Schroeder. She might step in and try to become the next senator, which I would take her over Rob Portman from what I understand about her politics. That means that every decision we make on that level, then reparations should be a part of it. What's that mean? That means that you should not vote. If you're somebody who's pro-reparations, you should not vote for a candidate before you ask them how they feel about reparations and if you get their support. They don't support it, you don't vote for them. Simple as that. Starts right there. It's bigger than just the president. No one person is going to bring reparations to DFBA, descendants of Foundational Black Americans. It's just not going to happen. I don't care what Biden does. He ain't going to do it by himself because he's just one person and he's the president. He's not in Congress. So I'm with you, but let's make sure we get it. Eric writes, people pay taxes for a reason. Why would I pay for a service I'm not receiving? What are you talking about? You talking about school, Eric? Because of a pandemic. And you are receiving a service. Kids are receiving services from Cincinnati Public Schools right now. I quite honestly believe, I'm against the decision to go back to hybrid, but I quite honestly believe that CPS has worked very fast and diligently to try to put things in place virtually. They worked out a contract with Cincinnati Bell to get free access to internet to all the families, all the children. That's huge. That's not no small feat. They're working with local businesses to provide free meals. That's not a small feat. That's huge. And, initially, earlier last year when they went to virtual, when the pandemic hit, they had some technology issues, but they've been ironing it out. So no, people are getting a service for your tax dollars right now, Eric. The service doesn't have to be face-to-face during the pandemic. Deborah writes, lack of empathy sounds too much like Trump. We all need each other. I agree with you. Brent writes, let me see here. Brent writes, I just lost it. He writes, good morning, Nate and the Choppers, checking in from Dallas, Texas. Why does it not surprise me that Drip Squad and Two and Impossible doesn't know the difference between equality and equity? 10T writes, they are willing to risk the spread running through children because of their low death and hospitalization rates, but those kids stay in households, sometimes 3 generations in small apartments. Facts on facts on facts. I detect no lies. I detect no lies. Again, family, before we go too deep into the show, we've got about 30 minutes left. And again, it looks like my guest may be having some issues or whatever. I'll try to reach out to Mr. Elijah Baker and see if we can't reschedule that for maybe tomorrow, or we'll see what's going on. There is a difference in the time. And that's why I'm always, whenever I deal with somebody in a different time zone, I always hit that EST. So they understand. I have that conversation so they understand, which I did with Mr. Baker, but you never know. You never know. So, again, that's why I'm a little bit shy, not a little bit. That's why I'm tentative and I hesitate to put guests on cover art, because you never know. And I don't want to sell you something that doesn't really happen. That's why I say schedule guests. These things can sometimes be out of the control of the host, but we'll try to work on it and make it happen, Captain. You already know. The show goes on. But before we go any further and before we end this morning, I want to take another second here, another minute, should I say, to give you a word from our sponsor. Today's show is being sponsored by Team Wellburn, the wellburnexperience.com. If you're looking for say it with me, y'all, dream home, a dream home. Doesn't that sound great? Again, home ownership is fundamental, at least for the working class, in terms of your wealth building portfolio. And you can start that process today by contacting Team Wellburn. Here's the ad. We'll be right back.
It's that well-born experience. It's that well-born experience. The well-born experience. 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 It's that well-born experience. Yeah, the well-born experience. Yeah, that well-born experience. Experience. Tell us what you need. That's the question we start with. We specialize selling condos, houses, apartments. Make sure that you happy with your residence. Keep it real, no filter. Oh, this the realtor from the nattiest heaven sent. It's the well-born experience. Ain't nothing like it. Every time he talk to his client, he's so excited just knowing he able to put them in a place to lay their head. Not focusing on his profits, but on the client instead. Right. He keeps it so professional, and from his conversation, you can tell he studies before sharing information. Educated, motivated, ain't nobody better. Who's willing to walk you through every step to relieve the pressure? Yeah, and just so you know it's real, you get a special personalized rug once he closes the deal. So go and call him up so he can get you live. 513-252-1055.
Again, that's 513-252-1055. You can start your process of finding your dream home today. Matter of fact, you can start this morning. Go to the wellbornexperience.com. There's a link in today's description on Facebook and YouTube. Again, the wellbornexperience.com. There you can, if you want to send him an email this morning, feel free to do so at teamwellburn@gmail.com. That's team, TEAMWELLBORN @gmail.com. And again, 513-252-1055 this morning. Again, a great way of supporting Nathan Ivey Show is supporting our sponsors. And when you start that process for a dream home, make sure you tell them you heard about it on the Nathan Ivey Show, or with CDM and the Nathan Ivey Show. It means everything. It means everything. Black owned. Start that process for wealth building this morning. Start the process this morning. All right. Take the first steps this morning. You might be several months away from actually pulling the trigger on a piece of property or getting to the point where you feel like you're there. But, talk with Team Wellburn. You never know. You never know. Good morning to you. Hope you're having a great day. Please like and share this live stream. Please like and share this live stream. If you like this kind of content, if you think this kind of content is something that the people on your social media page should see, there's a whole bunch of Facebook groups out there. I can't possibly be in every one of them. So do your boy a solid and then share some of your social media currency with me. And of course, I'm always willing to share with you as well. I keep telling you, rock with me and support me. I support you 100%. Send that link. Feel free. Good morning to you. Hope you're having a great morning. Starting out just great, isn't it? Here's my number if you want to share your thoughts. Don't be shy. Again, you don't have to agree with the host. I'm not a disagreeable person. That's not my nature. You can tell. You can see in my face. I'm a very, very nice guy. I'm a nice guy. But I just have my opinion and can stick to it. That doesn't have to be at the expense of you. Again, I'm not going to shout you down. I'm not going to try to make you sound dumb and look dumb. I'm not into all of that. You'll have as much time as, well, you have as much time as you want, but you'll have full time to express yourself. And I love contrary opinions. I crave it because I might learn something. You giving me something that all I have is my opinion. By sharing your opinion with me and with us, you helping the show. So again, divergent points of view are always welcome here on the show. Always welcome. Let me talk about some local matters here. So I'm reading that there's been some news in terms of the race for the mayor of Cincinnati. And two, as you might say, heavyweights have decided to not get into the race. One is Mark Mallory, former mayor, black male Democrat. He will not be running for mayor per the article that I read within the last 24 hours. He is not going to run for mayor of Cincinnati. And neither is David Pepper. Okay, David Pepper was the former chairman of the Ohio Democrat Party. Some say he did an okay job, but there was some speculation as to whether he might run for mayor. It looks like two of them are not going to be running. So what does that mean? Well, I would have to say that if you ask me, so Nate, looking at the field, who do you think is the front runner? I would have to say that it's Aftab Pureval. That's what I'll have to say. I would say Aftab Pureval. I would say Cecil Thomas. This is just my personal viewpoint. It's not an endorsement in any way. I say that based upon a lot of things. But I thought that if Mark Mallory got into the race, him being there before, his connections, his family name, his ability to fundraise, I thought he would be a strong contender as well. But he's not. And neither is David Pepper. So, you got a lot of folks out there. I wonder if Chris Silbach hurt his chances by, dropping F-bombs on Twitter. Not in terms of my personal opinion, but the opinion of the public. I know that the Inquirer did a piece about that, and there's some feelings about that, which I'm on the fence about. You've got Wendell Young, of course, Kelly Prather, Raphael Prophet. Who else is running? I feel like I'm forgetting some people here. But of all those people, for a lot of reasons, I think that, Aftab Pureval is standing out, not the least of which is the ability to fundraise. And, just the public image. I mean, this is based upon not just my personal feelings, which is a part of it, but what I'm getting from the community as well, the vibe I'm getting. So we'll see what happens. I know PG Sinfield is still in the race. I think the latest with that is that his lawyers they put in a motion to have the charges dismissed. And then I read per local media that the federal prosecutors were like, no, a judge should not decide this. It should be decided by a jury. So we'll see what happens. If, let's say hypothetically, the judge decides to drop these charges. And oh, by the way, it looks like the U.S. attorney in this area, DeVillers, as I believe his name is, he's there now, but with the change at the executive, we could see a change there as well. So is Joe Biden going to replace him? And if he does, what does that mean for these local prosecutions on these federal charges? Is it going to have some impact or no impact? I don't know. I'm watching to see just like everybody else is. But as it stands here right now, that's what I would say. I would say that if you're an Aftab Pureval, supporter, fan, whatever, you want to see him become mayor, hearing that Mark Mallory and David Pepper are not going to step in, that's got to be taken as good news. I mean, how else could you take that? Ronald writes, was it Matt Sample? Yes, it was Matt Sample, Ronald. Yeah, he called me Monday, like, I heard my name came up on your show. And I'm like, yeah, it did. I'm like, who is this first? Like, who is this? And he's like, he starts going through this whole list of things that he's not. Like, I'm not this, I'm not that, I'm not a racist, I'm not this, I'm just a this. This is who I really am. He started explaining and defining who he is because he felt like he was under attack. And I had to let him know, like, I didn't attack you, Matt Sample. I don't know you. It's hard for me to attack somebody that I don't know. Your name came up. It was brought up by somebody. He even criticized that woman, saying she was crazy or whatever. It must be some personal relationship there, which I am completely unaware of. But he said he was going to give us a call on Monday. So, Matt, if you're listening or somebody knows Matt, I did have a guest schedule. Looks like that's not going to happen. The door is open. The door is open. Hold on. Okay. I just sent another message to Elijah Baker just to confirm and see if he's still available this morning. But if that doesn't happen, if Matt Sample's out there, you want to call in and set the record straight, go right ahead. You know, just like I told you away from the mic, Mac. I mean, from the live stream, Matt. Say your piece. You know, say your piece. You got called out during the CPS board. Then that's when I picked up on it because it was in their live stream. I didn't necessarily call you out. I was just asking for who is this person? You know, is there more information here? So feel free. Feel free. You want to share your voice and your perspective? From what he told me, he was like, well, I'm just somebody who feels like, you know, I want to share information. He was talking about his background. I don't remember what he said exactly. He's got some information about the vaccine, and he feels like there's not enough facts out there. And he's happy that, I believe that's what he said, that he's happy that CPS is going back to, you know, some in-school learning. And again, what you have to understand, family, is that the people that are happy to see CPS in virtual learning, they're not happy with 2 days a week. What they really want is to see CPS 5 days a week. That's really what they want. That's really what they want. So just so you know, this is a slippery slope. So all the people out there that's like, okay. Hold on one second. I'm communicating with Elijah Baker. Hold on, family. We're going to do something live on the air. Let me double check my emails because the brother's saying that he's available, but I sent him the information along with our number. Oh, okay. Yeah, he got it. Yeah, he said he got it. So I don't understand. Okay. Okay. Yeah, so he's saying he got all the information. I wonder if the time threw him off. I think he's either an hour behind. That might have got him, but again, you know me, I do my due diligence. So I just invited him to join the stream whenever he's ready. Because what we got, 20 minutes here? Yeah, we might go a little bit later. Let me think. I think I have the time to do it. You got the NAACP's Truth to Power coming up at 2 p.m. today, so pushed back by an hour. But I believe we can go a little bit over. We can go to 10:30 this morning and give the brother enough time and enough time to really absorb what he has to say. I'm here for it. You know that. I'm here for it. So yeah, he responded to my email and the text. So maybe at the very least we can get him on the phone. Sometimes people have issues with their Zoom link. You know what I'm saying? You know, if they've never done it before. You know, what I found doing things virtually is that everybody's got a different quality of connection and computer. Not all computers and connections are the same. That's just number one. When you go buy a laptop, just make sure you tell whoever you're trying to buy the laptop from what you're trying to do with it. Okay, because not all laptops are made for streaming. They're not all the same. Some laptops are made for it, and some laptops are made for like doing word programs and things like that. So make sure you're getting what you're gonna do with it. You go in there and say, "Give me the cheapest laptop." You're gonna get the cheapest laptop, and it may not stream the way you want it to. Same thing with phones. Like some people's phones work great with Zoom. Other people's phones, it's like they're calling you from like the set from, you know, Star Trek circa 1963. You know, it's just bad if that's when it came out. So I don't know. So we'll see. We've been communicating. We'll see if we can get them on. If not, then we'll reschedule whenever it's better. See, Glenn writes, Nate is like 1090J. I'm rocking with you if you rocking with me. Oh, absolutely. All day, every day. What's up, Rolando? He writes, who is Mr. Burns? I said it before, John looks like a black Mr. Burns. He does. I've said this to his face. I mean, no disrespect. I mean it very affectionately. That's my bro. That's my big bro right there. He's older than me. Rolando Burton, a character on The Simpsons. The voice is similar. The face is similar too. Toy is in the house. I get that people are going to be very critical of Biden and people just aren't fans. It's been a week. How many of you were experts a week into your job? ? If we're 6 months in and this is all, I have major concerns. Don't underestimate the 4 years worth of mess he just inherited. True that. I'm with you and I agree with all of that. What I will say is that the time is now, Toy, because what's going to happen is in a year and a half, we start to get into the politics of the midterm elections. And for me, if black voters are going to get a payoff, it's going to happen now. It's going to happen right now. Why? Because they've got a majority only for 2 years. We don't know what's going to happen in 2022. So we can't look at this as 4 years, okay? We learned this from Obama, and many of us knew it already. This is a 2-year, year and a half cycle window right now, okay? What they start with is what they're most likely going to get accomplished. Because the closer they get to the midterm elections in 2022, the stronger the magnetic forces of what the elections mean to those senators and congressmen in terms of their policy and politics and how they act is going to impact them. You know what I'm saying? So, and then after 2022, the Democrats could lose a majority. Then they're back in a minority, and we already know the Republicans don't give a damn about a black agenda unless the black agenda is I don't think they give a damn about it no matter what. Unless the black agenda aligns with whatever agenda they have, 100%. So we got about a year and a half. So all this time is critical. So I hear you in terms of, and I agree with you, like, let's wait and see. But we can't wait for 6 months. We've been waiting for too damn long. We can't wait for 6 months because we didn't make Joe Biden wait for 6 months. When he needed South Carolina, black voters stepped up. When the Democrats needed Atlanta, when they needed Georgia, black voters stepped up. So we need you to step up for us. No tears, a period across the board, and that's it. Okay. So the brother, I told the brother or extended the brother, he can call in and feel free to call in whenever. And he said, okay, so we'll see what happens. Janice writes, me too, Glenn. In all of my many years, I've missed maybe only 2 primary elections. I couldn't wait till I was old enough to vote. I'm with you. Dale writes, there's a black conservative POV that he provides misinformation. Right. Angela writes, good morning, Nate and Choppers. It's my birthday. What? Happy birthday, Angela. Happy birthday. What? Man, it's a lot of people's birthdays. Yeah, no, Donnie's birthday was Monday, I think it was, or Tuesday. Monday, I think it was. Damn, a lot of people on Friends Page birthday this week in the last week or so. Okay. Oh, boy, we on point now. Okay, I see brother Elijah is backstage right now. Hey, can you hear me, brother Elijah? Just kind of wave. I think he can. I see his lips moving. All right, so this is Elijah Baker, everybody. Let me go straight to the Zoom. Now, if you're on the audio stream, I'm going to tell you right now, we already know it's going to be very difficult for you to hear that. So jump over on Facebook, on YouTube, so you can be a part of the conversation. Hey, brother Elijah, how are you?
Good. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing great, man. Doing great.
I had you in the wrong time zone, man.
You know what? That's what I was telling the audience. I'm like, yeah, I bet that time zone threw him off a little bit.
Yeah, I had you on Texas time, man.
On Texas time, yeah. Well, listen, I appreciate your time this morning, brother, no matter what. And my show usually ends at 10, but we're going to go over with this. Because I
appreciate
definitely
it.
want to talk with you, man. Most definitely.
I apologize for the mishaps.
Oh, it's all good. It's all good. Looking clean this morning like that.
Thank you, brother.
So I came across a documentary, man. It might have been about 3 months ago, quite honestly. I've watched it like two and a half times now. It just caught my attention. It was called Loyalty, No Royalty, right? And it was all about Toni. That's my generation, right? I'm a 70s baby.
Right.
And so in the 90s, you know, I was doing the club thing, and I'm still into music, right? You never fall out of love with music, but I was more heavily influenced in music culture. I think that's kind of safe to say back in the 90s. So I paid attention to all of that. That's my wheelhouse. And man, the more I watched the documentary, it just blew me away. I just couldn't believe what I was seeing. I had never heard this story before at all, and never even known that there were other members of the group Toni. And that's when I came across it. And so I watched it a couple of times. And I said, you know what, let me just reach out to this brother and see if he might be available. And so I did that, you know, last week. And I appreciate you making some time for us this morning. So tell us who you are and tell us your involvement in the band, the R&B group, Toni.
My name is Elijah Baker. I'm the original bassist of Toni. First cousin of Raphael Sadiq. All members graduated from the same high school, Castlemont in Oakland, California. All 6 members. So that's it.
So how did the band come together?
It came together. Like first, we all was in 3 different bands. Dwayne, probably like pretty much damn near 10 years older than us. He had his group Alpha Omega. Raphael, Tim, and Antron was in Hot Water, and myself and a couple other members was in this group called Spicy, and Carl Wheeler was playing for the Hawkins. You know, Carl Wheeler was the first person doing TV as a child. This TV show called Just Kidding, and he went into playing with the Hawkins family in his teens. So he was the first professional musician we had. Then at 87, Raphael and Tim and Carl went to go play with Sheila E. While me, Antron, and Dwayne was playing for this local group called Destiny. So once they got off the road with Sheila E., we all formed Toni. Although just the 3 of them did a single called One Night Stand in 87. That's the record we was pretty much promoting, and other original tunes that the group recorded. In 88, we got signed to, well, them 3 got signed to Tommy and Denny, a production deal. Then all 6 of us got signed to Wing Polygram Records in 1989.
So I got an image up on the screen right now. Can you describe to the audience, like from left to right, who is it? We know that Raphael Sadiq is in the middle, right? That's your first cousin. But from left to right, who is everybody so everyone knows who we're talking about?
Left is Tim Christian Rowley, Raphael Sadiq in the middle, Dwayne Wiggins to the right.
Okay. And for a lot of people, that was the only band members that we ever really knew of when it came to Toni. I had no idea that there was anybody who would even consider themselves to be a band member. So when did you get involved with the band?
All 6 of us was involved in 1987.
Okay.
Strictly when Raphael, Tim, and Carl Wheeler got off the road with Sheila E.
So was it intended for them to be out in front and then you guys to be in the back, or what was the original arrangement?
That was never the sequence because one of the 3 Tonys is a drummer. So he's always in the back. So it was never sequenced and formatted like the OJs, for instance.
Right.
It was no OJ situation. It was always a band concept. They just put the 3 in the front because Dwayne, Ray, and Tim was the very first ones who started it like for a short period of time. But they did one wedding gig together. And I established Toni, but they was trying to be the Black Police at that time. But in our era of music, that sound was not going to work for them. So they had to conform into what was going on. And that's what we came with the band, because, you know, the time and, you know, Ready for the World and Cameo and all this still going on, Prince. So we conformed to the band thing. That's what we come with the concept of 6. And Dwayne Wiggins was really the lead singer first. and Raphael played more bass, and they used me kind of as the Jerome concept because I was a good dancer. I also know how to play the bass, of course, but they used me to add more uh, attention and showmanship to the group.
So what was the first big break for the band where, because, a lot of people do bands. You ask some folks as musicians, they might have been in 3-4 bands that nobody ever heard of. What was different about Tony, and what was the first, like, oh, okay, I think this is going to be big?
Man, we just all had that dream and drive. In our mind, we was already made it. You know what I'm saying? Because we've been local stars in the quartet gospel realm and professional gospel areas in all the clubs around the band. So we had the same attention locally as being a celebrity all across the world. So it really wasn't no different. We all had the same drive. But I defined the moment when we did the showcase in front of the record company president, Ed Eckstein, and Michael Johnson, the vice president. And as soon as we did it, we was on.
So what was that like, man? I mean, here you are with these dreams. You get a chance to perform in front of a record company, which the music business is completely different now. I know you're doing your thing now. I want to talk about it. What was that like going into it?
As kids, you think fame and fortune is the same thing. So we're going to be famous and rich, you know what I'm saying? And we love playing music. That's all we did our life. So once we got it, we just now it's just finna be elevated. And that was my only thought process about it. And I thought we'd be together because we was like this. So it was no doubt in my mind that we just gonna all just flourish together like earth, wind, and fire.
Right. And like you said, Raphael Sadiq is your first cousin.
Right.
On your mother's or father's side?
My father's side. His mother and my father's brothers and sisters.
So y'all grew up close.
Like brothers.
Wow. So eating at each other's house, spending the night, bunk beds, the whole 9 yards.
The whole 9. We said the whole 10. like his mother, I'm her favorite nephew. My father, he's Raphael, his favorite nephew.
Wow. Okay. So that's close. Not play cousins, like real, like you said, like brothers. Yeah. Okay. So you do the showcase. And it's 6 members of the band, correct?
Yes.
6 members of the band. Y'all sign a deal, right, with the record company. And what was the first single? Because I'm trying to figure out the timeline. Did Toni take off with the first album?
Yes. Our first true defining moment was Halo Walter, our first single, our hit. It went over big. It was a big record for us.
And so how did the industry work back then? Did the band write the music or did the record company write the music?
Well, at that time, we was green on producing. The only real songwriter in the group at the time who was doing it prior to Toni was Carl Wheeler and Antron Hale. So Tommy and Denny produced the majority of our first record, and Carl and Antron, they participated on 3 songs on the first album. I didn't get to participate because Raphael played the bass.
Okay, so you part of the band, you get your first deal, and you weren't involved with it because Raphael was doing the bass, which is what you do.
Yeah, but at that moment, they weren't signed to the label. They were signed to a production deal. So the production company, which was Tommy and Denny, took on Raphael, Dwayne, and Tim, and they kind of set up the division right there. And then, but it was still a band concept. Like I told you how the band was formatted. I'm in the front with Raphael and Dwayne. Tim is on the drums with Carl and Antron. So I'm always, when it comes to concerts, I'm always in the front, like the OJs, with Raphael, Dwayne, and myself.
So somebody wants to know did you have management back then?
Yeah, he was a rookie too. Everybody was green. Him and Dwayne was good friends. His name was Carlos Stanfield.
So with that first record deal, you said Raphael did the bass. Did you get anything out of it? Did you get any money and anything out of the deal?
Well, they got a small advance, and they gave us $1,000 a piece. They got probably like $10,000 a piece. But at that time, we was kids, no bills, and we was gonna get paid for shows. Nobody really wasn't tripping.
So you do your first record deal. Hey Lil Walter takes off. Were there any other tracks on that first album that took off?
Oh yeah, we had 4 top 10 hits. We had Born Not to Know, Baby Doll, and For the Love of You. All those was top 5 hits, but they was urban R&B hits. We got popped when we went to the second album. Feels Good. Feels Good took us out of here, took us to the moon.
Yeah, man. That's if you say Tony, that's the first thing. I tried in a very bad voice this morning to say Feels Good. That's not my forte. But that's where everybody knows Tony from.
Yes.
Who wrote that? Was that written by the band members?
Oh, that was written by the band members. See, the second album we took full power. We knew the concept and we did that. Tommy Denny was only demoted to do 3 songs on the future albums because they breached the contract and they was able to get out the production deal, and the record company signed all 6 members on the Revival album in 1989.
So from your personal standpoint, what was that like for you? So you said, you weren't doing the bass on the first album. You kids, you got $1,000, you're making money from shows. The band knows a little bit more about what they're looking for, how to maximize it. The second album, you got Feel Good. What was your attitude and your feelings going into that second album?
Oh, that we was independent. Like I said, man, we were so close, man. We it was just kids and they're doing what we do, having fun and support each other, playing. And somebody asked, "I writing songs?" Yes, I did write a song on the Revival album called "Those Were the Days." I wrote the second verse on that song, but I didn't get any credit for it. I also participated in some production on a record. I didn't get to play bass on anything, but I can obviously play. But I wasn't allowed to play bass on any songs. But I did write some songs, and I also wrote "Let's Get Help Right, Let's Get Down" too on our 4th album, one of their biggest hits.
So from the doc, man, what I got was, you could have did the bass, but you didn't. And you was doing a lot of choreography, which from a fan perspective, that was what kind of made one of the many things that made Toni so different is that they had some choreography, like the brothers could move. You know what I'm saying as well? You saying you was doing that?
Yeah, I'm totally 100% responsible for that. Because they was more into just jamming. You know what I'm saying? Dwayne got demoted from being a lead singer because he didn't have the flair and the skills. He couldn't dance, really. He learned how to dance, but you wouldn't look at it. Even if he bust a move, you wouldn't be like, "Ooh, Dwayne could dance." You'd be like, "Dwayne is just dancing." You know what I'm saying? Raphael picked it up a little more better. And he had a little something else about him that the record company and the producer scene that they pushed him to the forefront.
Right. So growing up with Raphael, did you see that when he was younger too? He had that, that X factor or was super talented?
We all see that group is full of alpha males. We all had our own entourage. Everybody was their own. Everybody had that Titan spirit, that leader spirit. So that's why it worked so well, because everybody had expertise in their own thing, far as personalities, far as skill set, and everybody in some form of fashion respected each other when it came to making music. Like they might have not let me participate as much as I could have, but they respected my opinion. Like if I didn't like something, they wasn't gonna do it. Like Raphael paid attention to my body language, and he know when I really like something. And I was like, he'd do something else until you get that smile on my face.
So since you're a bass artist, why did you go along and let Raphael do the bass? Kind of take your place doing that? Did you feel like it was just the best thing for the band, and you had other ways to get in? What was that discussion like?
He originally started off as the bass player.
Oh, okay, I see. So,
but that still was no reason for him not to let me play the bass. But man, I got a strong personality, and I speak up, but for some reason, I just let that ride. Because I had a lot of respect for him, and for what he do. and I just roll with it. And I can't really answer. It bothered me, but I can't really answer why I didn't just speak up like, "Hey man, let me play. Like I can play this." I just roll with it, and I got to check myself on that because I just roll with it, and I should have said something.
I mean, no, I get it, man. I mean, shit, I mean, why not roll with it? And this is your family, number
Yeah,
one. So you
yeah,
think they got your back? Number two, things is going good.
yeah.
You know what I'm
Things
saying?
going
Second
good.
album, Feel Good did that go international? That was huge.
Yeah, we're international. And we was touring overseas, went to Japan, and that record sold too many copies. Yeah, like I said, man, we was kids, man. We just having fun. We were living our dream, and it was no reason to question anything. I understood Raphael played the bass, and I respect him as a bass player. And learning as creating music as a bass player, you hear a song a certain way when you play. So he could have just told me what to play, and I could have played it and improvised, but I could have put my own little um, flavor to it as well. But they chose to do the things their way, and and it was successful, so it worked. So I didn't trip.
So second album, the group goes through the roof. Feel Good, international smash. Did it cross over? Was it a pop smash too?
Oh yeah,
Well,
Feels Good was definitely a smash crossover.
So what was the money like in that second album?
I wouldn't know. I see money coming, but I didn't get any. That's what the tension and everything became around that time. So
what was the first sign?
Cars and jewelry, and we wasn't getting it. I was like, and I was the only person in the group who really wore jewelry, and they jewelry started being bigger than mine. I was like, hey, how did you get all that?
So just take us back real quickly, just to set the scene for us. So how did everybody grow up? I mean, did everybody in the group come up with money? Was it middle class? Was it working class?
Everybody was the middle class, but my family definitely had the biggest house out of everybody in the group. That's no secret.
So Feels Good takes off, everybody happy, and you start to see there's a difference. Like, people got diamonds. Where's my diamonds? When did you start?
Well, I had diamonds. I said
Okay.
I had diamonds from the street. Like my brothers now was involved in the '80s era, so they made sure I stayed on top of the game.
So, but you started to notice there was a difference in terms of what some band members were getting. Like, what was the first sign that there was a problem, or that there was something different going on?
When I seen a brand new Benz, when I saw a brand new Corvette, when I saw a brand new BMW, and I started seeing houses, I started seeing jewelry, and we was like, hey man, what's going on? Like, y'all getting money, and where's ours? That's when it became a problem, when we asked. So maybe if I'd have asked about my bass playing, it'd have got mad at me too and tried to fire me too. But right. Like I said, I speak up. I don't just lay down. But when I saw that y'all getting money, we ain't getting it, I had something to say about it. Raphael called me messy and a unionizer. And I nicknamed myself Jimmy Hoffa. I will form a union on you if you're doing something wrong and fight for what's right. Always.
He called you messy and you a unionizer.
Yeah.
He rolling around the Benz. He calls you a unionizer. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
That's funny. So it wasn't well received. So you spoke up to the three core members that was out front, and their response was what?
Nothing. Then there was tension between me, Carl, and Antron, and they just next it was tension. We weren't even speaking. That's how bad it got. And then one day I came to rehearsal, they talking about you fired. And then they make up all this other stuff. The reason why they fired me because I wasn't good enough, or all this fake ass stuff. So I'm like, but the problem was I asked about that money.
Wow. So, man, when I think of the money, I think of the contract. So with that second album, everybody re-ups. Did you sign a contract? Like, did you have a contractual relationship with them that says, listen, I get X amount of dollars?
I sure did. We sure did.
So was the issue you signed a bad contract?
No, I signed a good contract. I signed a good contract with bad family members. Because the record company paid the pot. When it was time to split the pot, it was only the three dictating where that money go. They then make sure the other three members didn't get their portion. That was the problem.
So the money comes in, and they like, look, we can split this 3 ways or 6 ways, and they chose to split it 3 ways
When it
and
was
exclude you.
When there was 6 members on the contract.
When there was 6 members in the group.
Yeah.
Were there any lawsuits? I mean, that sounds like a civil lawsuit, breach of contract or something like that. Was the lawsuit?
It's a lawsuit right now as we speak, because we never seen our contracts till 2019. If you watch the documentary, when my ex-manager said that dollar amount, that's when I went to inquire about it, because they only gave me back then when they fired me, they only gave me a corporation, a Toni Inc. corporation papers. And when I went to go take that back then, the attorney's like, we can't do nothing with this. Where's your record? Where's your recording artist contract? And where's your publishing contract? They never gave me that. So at that moment in time, I thought they had the power to do that, until I went and inquired after you made that dollar amount. I said, I got to look deeper into this. And they record company said, send me your signature. If it matches, I'll see the contract. Lord and behold, it matched, and they sent it to me, and all 6 names was on that contract. If you go by the document, look, it's screenshotted in there. It's a segment, you'll see it real quick.
So are you saying that the money should have been split 6 equal ways? Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm saying the money should have been split 6 ways. The 3, Dwayne, Tim, and Raphael, 60%. Me, Carl, and Antron, 40%. But Carl got more share than we did. So let's say Carl got 16, me and Tron got 12, and the other 3 got 20. Well, when it came, we got 0, 0, 0. And they got 33 to 3rd.
Man, I would have been hurt. I would have been hurt because I would have been mad professionally, but I would have been hurt personally, because it's your first cousin.
I mean, that's what it was. It was devastating. But I'm pretty much a hard-nosed person, and I do what I got to do to make it, and I'm quick to say F something, like and move on. But I stopped dealing with him, and I just made my way how I had to make my way, and that was just that. But when you get older and you get more knowledge and you learn things, and now I have kids, and I hear my music on the radio every day, every city, every state I go to, I'm like, I can't get no enjoyment out of that, knowing that I was a part of a legendary group, and all I do is get to hear my music on the radio. So when I went to go dig deep, I found that. So that's why we're in the lawsuit right now.
Wow. Yeah. I want to ask you about that. I'm glad you spoke to it. Like, well, first, what did that do to the family? What did that do to the family when they start taking off and buying homes, and then basically pushed you as their first cousin to the side?
Let me answer this person's question right here. She said, what did he say he contributed to the group to get paid? I was a contractual member on the publishing agreement and the record artist agreement. So, Miss Lady, if I didn't lift a finger to do nothing, I'm on a contract. If you on the paperwork, you get paid regardless. But I'm the reason you enjoy Toni dancing. You enjoyed their performances. I'm the reason, a lot of reasons. All 6 of us made that group to what it is, in whatever portion and whatever they allowed us to participate in. I am a well-known producer. I can write songs. I got my own label. So I'm more than capable to write a hit song. I just didn't have the promotion in the big companies behind me. But you'll hear about me. Keep watching, Tracy. Then you know what I'm capable of.
So, but back to my question. So what did it do to the family? When y'all start splitting on business, what happened to the family?
The thing with that, which is crazy to me, the family didn't even really trip about us not making our portion, us getting fired. Like, nobody stepped in. My father, his mother, my auntie, everybody was just cool with it but me. But now that I'm fighting to get what I rightfully deserve, not everybody got a problem with it.
Why do you think that is?
Can I curse on here?
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck why it is. You know what I'm saying? The problem is, y'all didn't have that same energy when I got fired. So don't question me about nothing I'm doing. If your son is innocent, or your cousin, or whatever, your friend with him is innocent, then we gonna see. But the problem is, I want what was on that contract and what I rightfully deserve. I don't want to hear about that other bullshit. I don't give a fuck.
So you saying your mother, your
My mother
father
passed. See, that's the problem right there. My mother passed when I was 14 years old. Had my mother been living, none of this shit would have happened.
Get you. I get
She
you.
was college education. She was super sharp, and she didn't play that shit. But she was the sweetest person on this earth. But my mother died at 14. My father pretty much laid back. He kind of like whatever kind of dude, but he's a good man. You know what I'm saying? But he ain't that fighter. He ain't gonna go get at it. He a preacher, so he gonna kind of take the God's way. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes I need to work another way, but my daddy always gonna take the God's way.
So if Tony comes on the radio after we get off today, do you listen to it? How do you feel?
I feel good about it because I know I'm part of that legacy, no matter what. Like I said, I get publishing for Let's Get Down and other songs I wrote. And like I said, I have more to gain off of it now for my documentary. People actually see what I did participate in the group and what I'm doing now. So it'll all work out at the end of the day.
So you feel good about, okay, you are getting some publishing. Damn. So was that second album the biggest album that Tony had? Tony had?
The second and third album was equally as large. They both sold 2 million apiece. And the fourth album sold 1 million. So we sold worldwide, like, well, American 8 million sold records.
What do you estimate in terms of dollar amount? What do you estimate your share is that you never got? Because they made millions. They still making money.
It's kind of hard because you still got to split some with the record company. You still got to pay back when they advance you. And I got a little brain fart right now, but you still got to pay back things they invested in, recoupment. You got to recoup some things. So they still generate money off the publishing like crazy because we got like over 16 top 10 hits, Yeah.
But we are in the middles. You would estimate it's in the millions?
Of course.
Okay.
Yeah.
Man.
Easy.
Man. There was a story that was told in a documentary about how you guys were going to like a big party. I'm not sure if it was after an award ceremony. The 3 core members that everybody knows about, they get out of the limo, and then you guys, the rest of the band members are about to get out. Somebody's like, no, hold on. Can you tell that story? What happened with that?
Man, we was at New York. The second album, all 6 members, including myself, was signed to this contract. But by this time, we added my brother Jubu on guitar. So it was 6 original members, signed contract members. Remember that part. So we should all got the accolades for that. But we added Jubu after Feels Good. So therefore, we got to the party. We all excited, man. We have to go. Be quiet. We have a gold party, and we about to celebrate. And man, we all excited going there, man. We just ready to go, and we get there. I mean, it's lights, camera, action, man. It's Entertainment Tonight, MTV, BET. I mean, every big major platform network was out there. We get ready to step out. They said, hold up. That was our bodyguard, Big Will, rest in peace. He said, hold on, y'all can't come out right now. We're going to close the door. So we see a lot of cameras action, taking all kind of pictures. And, we sit in the car waiting, what the fuck we waiting for? And then, man, it just went black out there. And we still sit in the car like, when is these dudes coming back to get us? And, man, nobody never came back to get us. No management, no bodyguard. The limousine driver kicked us out the car after his ass drove about a quarter miles up. Like, y'all got to go. Like, what do you mean we got to go? And we had to walk to the venue, mad in the motherfucker, and and had to perform with them same dudes who just shitted on us on a group we was a part of the contract with.
What was the discussion afterward? Did anybody say my bad or explain it?
Ain't nobody explain shit. It was like whatever.
Damn. Are you and your first cousin Raphael Sadiq? Do y'all talk? Have y'all talked over the years? Do y'all have a good? I know you got a.
We talked after the documentary. You know, we talked kind of got a little past it, but since I started this lawsuit, we no longer speak.
Right. I can imagine that. He don't want to talk no more, huh? Dang.
Well, you know, he told me initially he want me to get my money, and if it's anybody go get it. He ain't gonna challenge me. But as soon as I started the lawsuit, he challenged me.
Right. You know what's funny, man? I was watching an interview with, I think her name is Dawn Robinson. She was a member of Lucy Pearl. Yeah. And she said something similar happened to her with Raphael Sadiq.
Oh, what's so ironic about that? Me and Dawn just talked for the first time in 20 years. We are joining forces and doing shows together. The original band and featuring Dawn Robinson. So be prepared for that.
Okay.
We're gonna get our retribution, our reparation. She got screwed, we got screwed. Now
get your reparations, bro.
Be quiet.
Get your reparations, bro. Get your reparations. That shit was, man, and again, it's not just you, it's two other members of the group as well that didn't get their fair share for what they contributed.
You could add Jubal also. He came in as a hired hand, but he contributed musically. Like Jubal responsible for Anniversary, Lay Your Head on My Pillow, all them signature guitar licks. Jubal did that. If I Had No Loot, Thinking of You, and the list goes on.
Tiff Rice, I'm definitely listening to some Toni when I'm done listening to this show.
And listen to some Park Avenue while you're at it.
Oh, man, that's hilarious. I mean, I was wondering, I would imagine that you want them to be successful because the more successful they are, the more successful, the bigger the pie for you, the bigger your piece of the pie, right?
Right.
But that's got to be tough, man. You seen them on Oprah and all these shows.
That's why I just got fired when they did that Oprah show. I just got fired previously.
I know you was salty as hell.
Yeah, before the house party, 2 movie, everything, man. They fired me, man. But you know, man, I don't deal with bad energy, and I didn't even use these terms. I mean, if you just on some bullshit, I don't fuck with you. So at that point, it didn't even matter to me. Although it hurt, but it was whatever.
I can see that. That's real. That's real. Yeah. So, I mean, in terms of your personal, just picking up about you personally, man, one thing I got from the doc is, you know, you're going to make your own way. You know, you're going to do what you got to do. And you made some choices that led to you coming in contact with the law. Do you blame what happened with the ban on what happened with your legal issues?
Yes, I do. I'm totally responsible for breaking the law. Pay my debt to society. I ain't got no problem with that. But if I would have got my issue off this successful group, I would never had the option to hustle.
And I can't remember off the top of the head. What was you doing exactly? What happened? It is a part of the story.
I'm not afraid to tell you about it. I was doing some white collar work. I was using other people's credit cards I just had a travel agency where I was just flying people for cheap. You know what I'm saying? They couldn't afford to travel, and I never felt good about doing it. First of all, like I felt like shit. You know what I mean? But I made me a good living off of it. And like I said, man, it was amazing how many people couldn't really travel and go nowhere. Like I had to. I felt I was helping, man. You know what I'm saying? I felt I was helping, but I knew what I was doing was wrong. Like, man, I did some crazy shit. Like, I wouldn't use nobody's credit card who don't really have no money. You know what I'm saying? I would use somebody who got a lot of money, 50,000 balance or something, and I may use probably like 700 to 1,000 off of it, so nobody get inconvenienced. So in my mindset, I always try to do something to feel like I ain't inconveniencing nobody, and then I'm like, if anybody gonna take a loss, it's gonna be the bank. It ain't gonna be that person. They just say they didn't do it. They get their money back. So that was my reasoning of making myself feel somewhat decent about committing this crime.
Right, I get it. And then again, refresh my memory, but somebody you was working with or somehow, ratted on you or something like that? Is that what happened?
They didn't know anything about what I was doing. The guy who was actually stealing the credit card numbers, he got caught, and he set me on a sting. And that's what happened, man. But it was just designed for me to go through that whole experience. Because, man, like I said, I had all kind of different warnings. I had a gut feeling like I didn't even go meet dude no more. I had a guy who used to meet him. That I used to pay to go meet him because he's always counting my pockets. So I made sure I put somebody in between us. But this day, I told him, I said, I'm going with you because I don't feel right about this. Because if it's gonna happen and it's going down, I'm gonna be there with you. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, typically, man, people get that gut feeling. They don't listen to it for whatever reason. And then you like, damn, I could feel it. I knew it already. Did you do jail time behind that?
Yeah, I did 4 years federal time.
Damn. So where you at now? Elijah, where you at now? I know you're doing music. You got your own record company. Tell people where you at and what you're doing.
I have a record label called Ambitious Records. I partner with my bros. We've got 3TOB project. 3T stand for Toni, Toni, Toni. OB stand for original band. We doing our own music. Y'all gonna hear Toni, Toni, Toni style music without Toni, Toni, Toni. And y'all gonna be shocked to hear how much it sounds more like the original group than what Raphael Sadiq could produce on his own, what Dwayne could produce on his own. Tim haven't really did anything to mention, so I ain't gonna bring him up. But you know, Carl Wheeler and Jubal successfully been with Frankie Beverly for the last 20 years, touring. You know, I've been producing E40, Too Short, a lot of hip hop artists, you know, and I got new artists. Park Avenue be doing my own thing. Park Avenue with Soul Palation. So I just been, you know, doing that, and I broke some deals with real estate and a couple other things, and that's all I've been doing.
And what about this doc, man? I mean, there's two versions of it, man. Combined, y'all almost at 1 million views in total. I mean, what's been the response from the documentary?
Hey, man, everybody keyword been informative. And what they did mention, it was our attention. We didn't throw nobody at the bus. Like, I could have really smashed them niggas if I wanted to. I could have smashed them that they wouldn't even speak to each other how much information I really know. But that wasn't my intent. My intent to make the documentary was to share what we did with this group. So now that I'm doing my own project, maybe these people will be inclined to come support what I'm doing now, so I ain't got to start over. And so far, it worked. It was a good idea, and we're getting a lot of support. Man, you got a few haters, but that's probably they girlfriends and they friends. You know what I'm saying? And they just true fail. I give a fuck about them. But go ahead.
Well, listen, there's a link in the description. I invite people, if you haven't already watched it, it is worth your time if you're into this kind of subject matter to check out that documentary. And, you know, the title says everything. Loyalty, no royalty. Loyalty, no royalty. And I think it's fascinating, man. I wish you nothing but the best, brother. I would like to hear about some of this petty, though. I'm here for the petty. If you want to put it out there, you said you could smash them Negroes.
I make people cringe about petty, man. My petty, I kick you to ding ding. You know what I'm saying? I ain't got no soft petty, so I'm gonna let them make it. They not affecting me. Here go my petty. My petty is the band with Don Robinson is merging together. Victims to Victors is going out together. We're gonna do a virtual show, and that's gonna be my petty. We're gonna do our version against their version, and let's see how that work out for them.
I like that, man.
That's my petty.
Hey, brother Elijah, I love that spirit. That's what it should be all about. How is the band doing today? Are they living good? Millions in the bank, big houses?
When you say band, who you talking about?
I'm talking about the Toni 3 core members that everybody really knows about.
Nah, everybody ain't living like that. Raphael got he probably doing the best. Dwayne doing the second best because of his greed. I don't know what Tim doing, but I don't hear nothing, so I don't see nothing. So.
All right. Well, Elijah, thank you for your time this morning, man. It's very interesting. People should check out that documentary. There's a link in the description, brother. And let's stay connected, man. I wish you the best. Is there going to be a part 2 to the doc, or the part 2 is what you're doing now?
Well, the part 2 is we're going to do the making of Don Robinson and 3TOB to do these shows we're about to do. So we're going to do a backstory. And I got a book I'm working on, Loyalty, No Royalty, where I do give you some of the petty in there, you know.
Okay, I'm here for it.
Yeah, some of the juicy stuff I left out the document will be in my book.
Oh, I'm here for it, man. Listen, I'm going to reach out to Miss Robinson, Don Robinson, to see if I can get her on. This is my generation, so when the book drops, man, let me know.
I'll definitely connect y'all two together.
I appreciate that. I do, man. So I love to have her on to hear her story. Hey, but Brother Baker, thank you for coming on, man. Have a blessed rest of your day, and I wish you nothing but success.
Can I respond to Tracy?
Sure, go ahead.
Tracy been talking slick the whole time. She said Raphael doesn't. Hey, girl, nobody care about Raphael. You go support him and enjoy yourself. We are right up here, young lady. You know, we okay without Raphael. Can't you tell? You enjoy Raphael, baby. We good over here.
All right. Hey, peace. A lot of fun, man. Very interesting. Thank you for your time, and I'll catch up with you.
All right, take it easy. Thank you. I appreciate you for having me, man.
Yeah, most def. That's Elijah Baker, everybody. Appreciate him. The webcam was just okay, but the conversation I thought was superb. So there it is. You heard it. I think it's worth circling back and checking out that documentary. You can find a link in the description. Yeah, I'm gonna reach out to Don Robinson because I know she's telling her story about how In Vogue kicked her out. That's my generation. I'm here for all of it. And you heard there, Brother Elijah said he'll help a brother connect us. So that'll be great. So hopefully I'll have some news on a future interview with Don Robinson very, very quickly. I can share with you. So I thought it was interesting. I wanted to bring you something different. You can expect more from this particular show. Listen, when it's time to talk local politics, we're going to do it superlatively, okay? Knives out. These are my knives. Knives out. But, you know, from time to time, more than less than we've been doing it. I want to talk about some of the other things that are interesting as well. So Glenn writes, Tracy is one of us. Oh, absolutely. Tracy don't give a damn. She writes, TNT writes, we love Tracy. Oh, 100%. You already know. Eb G writes, excellent. I learned a lot. So sad to see it came between family. Just sad. Glad he's okay. Right. I'm glad he's okay as well. Right. I love his attitude though. His attitude is, this is what I'm doing. My petty is being successful. Again, the sweetest revenge is success. Again, the sweetest revenge is success. That's why I tell all my people, you mad about white supremacy or somebody did you wrong, or just go out and be successful. That's all you got to do. And with that, family, I got to make a move. All right. I got to make a move. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate you. I'll be back and hopefully better than ever tomorrow morning. We're scheduled to speak with Carolyn Jones. She is the school board president, Cincinnati School Board president. We'll be talking about blended learning. Perhaps we'll talk with Ben Lindy, who is a member of the school board, on Friday. So a lot of things going on. Today at 2 p.m., the Truth to Power podcast hosted by the Cincinnati NAACP. And to my patrons, within the next 24 hours, check that feed. I'm going to be revealing to you something we've been working on for a while that I hopefully you'll get into. All right. So have an excellent rest of your day, fam. Have an excellent rest of your day, okay? Please like and in particular share this stream so everybody can see that interview with Brother Elijah Baker. And if you're interested in watching the documentary, there's a link in the description. You can check it out there, all right? That's my time. I'm Nathan Ivy, and until next time, I'm out.